السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. YouTube, how are we doing? YouTube, we have work to do today. I'm a little bit under the weather. I'm mixing up some next Arab/Russian accent. But we have work to do. And so, work we will do. Oh, yeah. Bismillah. You outrage porn addicts. You're here for the drama. You love the beef and you're here for it. You can't wait for me to get into it, you drama addicts. But don't worry, I've got a show for you today, my friends. I've got a show for you today. And inshallah ta'ala, if it is possible, I have politely requested our brother Ali Dawah to actually come on the live and to give his 2 cents, inshallah, after I have delivered my opening monologue, of course. And you're going to have to bear with my slightly nasal sound, because my sinuses are inflamed. So I've been dealing with a bit of illness over the past couple of weeks. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Chat, what are we saying? Abdul Malik, been waiting for this clarification for a hot minute. Yes, incandescence. Appreciate it, bro. Max looking sharp. I don't particularly feel like it, but I appreciate the compliment, bro. Barakallahu feek, my guy. Shout out to Somali Pirate getting in there early with the first super chat of the day. Shout out to you, brother. Jazakallahu khairan for the $4.99 super chat. I appreciate you, my guy. Let me pull up the soundboard real quick. But I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I'm not liking this nasal sound. I hope it doesn't sound as bad on the mic as it sounds to my ears right now, bro. It sounds terrible. Where's this thing? Yes. Jazakallahu khairan, Somali Pirate. I appreciate it. For those of you who don't know who I am, you may be tuning in for the first time off the back of the whole Ali Dawah debacle, and you may be wondering, who is this Mahdi gentleman? I'm pretty sure I've seen him somewhere on TikTok saying misogynistic statements of some sort. I don't like him, but I'd like to hear what he has to say anyway. I've noticed, by the way, that a lot of viewers who consume my content, they go on this arc, this interesting arc. And the arc usually begins here of, I can't stand this man's guts, right? And then slowly, they progress to, oh, it's not so bad, actually. He's got a point. Oh, he may be a bit harsh, but he's got a point. And then slowly, they come all the way to, oh, you know what? I love this guy. That's why the hate doesn't faze me at all, alhamdulillah, because I know, don't worry, you are coming, Habibi. You are coming, Habibti. You will soon be a raving fan of this content. We have a lot of work to do, inshallah ta'ala. A lot of work to do. And in fact, you know what? I'm starting this off on a slightly comical tone, but to be honest with you, it's not funny. The subject matter of today's discussion is extremely important. It is extremely important. And for those of you who don't have a clue what's going on, not got the foggiest what's going on, allow me to fill you in. You know what? I might as well just share the screen at this point. Amen. Right. YouTube, where are you, YouTube? Okay, let's pull up our brother Ali Dawah's channel. And I'll pull up the video that has triggered this out. And it's very interesting, by the way, to see the reaction from the people. So let me just roll it all the way back, because a lot of people here don't have a clue what's going on. They're just here with the popcorn. It's a Friday night. Got the old wife beater. Relax, wife beater is a nickname for Stella Artois. Okay. Hello, Stella, obviously, alcohol free. All right, they do them ones, mate. So they got the old wife beater out. The halal version, alcohol free version. Flip me, do I have to make that clarification? And they're there with their popcorn, and it's a Friday night, and they're like, Mahdi, I'm bored. Regale me. Entertain me. I want to see online beef. I want to see online heads rolling. Okay, Habibi, I'm coming. Relax. but you will have to up your super chat if you want to see the heads rolling. I'm sorry, I'm not working for free. You think I am clown? No, brother, you will have to pay good money. So this is the video that initiated this debacle here. Can you see my cursor? I don't think you can. Now you can. And the title of the video is Ex-Wives Using Kids Against Fathers, episode 10 of The Bitter Truth. And the reason why people, if you have a look into the comments, were so upset with this particular episode is because if you scroll through, you'll see this rather infamous leg and Timberland boot sticking out, okay, of some geezer who was there, but each time he had the mic, as you can see, each time he had the mic, he was cut out from the podcast. I was not aired because that geezer's leg is my leg. Yes, it was me. You know, I'm trying to find a good still shot of where, because you can see my face, right? Can you see there? You can see my big old nose sticking out. You can see the ring as well. You can see the ring. Shout out to Foreign Circles, by the way. Let me just, there you go. You can see the old ring. Yeah, I'm wearing it here. You can see the old Timberland boot. But each time my part came along, I was edited out. Why? The people have questions and the people want answers. Why was Mahdi edited out? I'll be perfectly honest with you. I didn't know. I didn't know that episode was going to drop. I'll be perfectly. I didn't know. As in, I said, well, I knew it was up for debate and discussion, but I didn't know it was going to drop because I just met. You know, I'm going to get into it properly. So I had just sat down and met our brother Ali Dawah for dinner a couple of days prior on the Monday. And I didn't know that this episode was going to drop. And this episode is particularly important because I'm going through it, bruv. It's not even funny. I don't know why I'm laughing. I'm going through paternal estrangement. You know what? I'm not even going through it. My kids are going through it. For 7 years, 4 of my children have not had regular access to their father. For 7 years. You know what? This is a good segue for me to bring that. I've presented this before, but maybe you're new here. Maybe you don't know my story. Maybe you're like, what's going on? Let me show you a photo. Let me let you into a passageway into my life. Here, these two are my beautiful daughters. May Allah have mercy on both of them. May Allah protect both of them. The baby at the front here, this is Hana. And the big baby at the back, this is Juwayriya. They're both my daughters from different mothers. Hana and Juwayriya, for those of you who haven't heard this story before, they were like best of friends. You can see, though, do I need to explain it? And it's all in the photo. I don't need to explain it. You can see they were having a bath here together. And they were like best of... Hana would stick to Juwayriya like glue. When she would come over, when Juwayriya would come over, she would run to the door. She was crawling at the time, actually. She's like, yeah, Jaya. I can't even remember what they used to call her. It's been that long. Alhamdulillah. And they got on like best of friends. They're sisters. They're kids. They're babies. They have fun, you know. Babies, whatever. You can hear me sighing a lot. Whenever I start talking about my kids, one of my wives noticed this. She said, you sighed a lot in that live. One of the lives I did talking about my children, I didn't notice it. When I listened to it back, I was like, damn, she's right. I sigh a lot when I talk about this topic because it's a painful topic. I don't know how many of you fathers have been through this, but if you haven't seen your kids or have hardly seen your kids on and off for even a short period of time, you know how much that hurts. Just a couple of weeks, you know how much that hurts. A couple of months, you know how much that hurts. Try 7 years. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Alhamdulillah ala kulli hal. Been going through this for 7 years. So don't mind my sighing. I will sigh every now and again, and it's completely natural. It's like I don't know, bruv. My body just doing its thing. You know what I mean? Alhamdulillah. Hannah didn't see Juwayriya for 9 months. Despite there being a court order in place, despite contact should have resumed, Juwayriya's mother decided, as she has on many occasions, that she didn't want to, she wanted to withhold contact. And there's not much you can do, by the way, even if there is a court order in place, as there is for me, unless you go back to the courts again. And they start finessing you and fleecing you with more money. And they start sucking and draining your energy. If you've not been through the court system, you will not understand how psychologically and mentally exhausting it is. And it gets to a point where a lot of fathers, they give up. They're like, you know what? And they give up in one of two ways. Either they give up and take their lives, literally, commit suicide, or they give up and like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I'm deteriorating as a human being. I just need to start again somewhere else. And my kids will find me when they grow up, and that's the end of that. It's devastating. And it's extremely, extremely exhausting. 9 months, Hannah, the baby at the front, didn't see Juwayriya, the young girl at the back, both my daughters. And then one day in Ramadan, I managed to see them, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. And I had Hannah, the baby here, with me. The moment Juwayriya saw me, and for those of you who have heard this story before, I apologize, but there will be a lot of viewers in here who haven't heard this story before. The moment Juwayriya saw me, first of all, she had shot up by 3 inches. It was a shock. Like, I hadn't seen her for 9 months. Same thing happened with one of my sons. I didn't see him for so long that the last time I saw him, he was a boy. The next time I saw him, he was a man, like 5 inches taller, bro. Voice broken and everything. Full grown man. I was like, how did that happen? So she was like, I don't know how many inches taller, but she looked like 20 inches taller. And she was wearing hijab as well. I was like, wow, my baby's growing up. She ran to me. She ran across the road. Like, she didn't even look left or right. She just ran across the road. And she ran into my arms. And alhamdulillah, it was a nice moment. But don't get it twisted. Yeah, a lot of people think, oh, that's such a nice, happy ending. No, no, no. No, it's not. First of all, she should not have been deprived of seeing her father for so long in the first instance. Number one. Number two, that was the last time she saw me since. She has not seen her father since. Juwayriya has not seen her father since. We're talking now 6 weeks ago. For an hour, it was around an hour. She got an hour with her dad in 9 months. 1 hour. What type of human beings, what type of individuals, what type of human person who claims they care about children would do that to their child? And I'm speaking broadly to you women now who are wrongly withholding your children from seeing their dad because of how you feel towards him, because of whatever. He's allowed to see them. There is nothing prohibiting him from seeing them. There's even a court order in place for him to see them. And yet, you've managed to do some mental gymnastics and, you know, oh, I don't want him to see them, whatever. Fucking bruv. I really don't want to get, you know, I don't want to go layers deep on the emotional stuff, because the last live I did on this, yeah, I was extremely, extremely fired up. I got so into it that after I concluded the live, I had the most excruciating headache. And when I went home, I couldn't keep my eyes open without my eyes hurting. It was like it made me sick. Like expending that much energy made me sick, subhanAllah. But it comes from a place of a mixture of pain, anger, frustration, built up, pent up emotion over many, 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 many years. So I want to try and rein it in a little bit today. But you know what I might not do? I might just let it out again. Who knows? I'm unpredictable like that. And furthermore, and I extended this invitation last time to the sisters or brothers. Bruv, I don't care. All right? I really don't care at this point. Men, women, whatever. He, she, theys. I want to be gender inclusive here, okay? I don't want to miss any pronouns. Someone give me a pronoun sheet. I don't want to, what's the word? I don't want to misgender you. You're welcome to come on the stream. And you are welcome to discuss and debate. And you are welcome to have me eat your metaphorical guts out for the viewing pleasure of the masses watching today's stream. Because dismember you I will. In debate, of course. Don't take my words out of context. I will destroy you. And you are welcome on the stream when I open the lines, inshallah ta'ala. Hana, the baby at the front, she sees Joadia for the first time. In 9 months, she starts crying and crying and crying. I had to call her mum up, who was in the restaurant next door. I said to her, come take Hannah. She's just absolutely hysterical. She didn't even recognize her. My sister, my foot. She didn't recognize her. She didn't remember her because the last time she saw her, she was 1. And now Hannah was 2, is 2. And she just didn't remember her. Didn't recognize her. So when we talk about this topic of parental alienation, of children being deprived of seeing their fathers, and I use the word father because it's typically children being deprived of seeing their fathers and not the other way around. Does it happen? Absolutely. Is that an oppression? Absolutely. But for the most part, by and large, it is children being estranged or alienated from seeing their dads. Imagine, bruv, it's your sister and you see her and you start crying because you don't know who this person is because you haven't seen her for so long. It's like some stranger. So this picture was taken how many years ago? I don't know, some point in 2022. And then I had another picture here. I'm not going to go through this presentation again because I did it last time. This was the day that I saw Joadia. Here, you can see it. On that day, she was wearing hijab, as I mentioned. And it looks like a happy picture. Yay, dad and daughter reunited. Daughter gets to see her daddy again. Yay, woo, excellent. No, don't get it twisted. This is not a celebration. This is not some type of happy ending, because this was the first time Joadia got to see her father in 9 months. And it was the last time up until present, right now. She didn't get to see her dad again until now, as we speak today, whatever the date is. Zoom out this thing a bit. So it's not a happy ending. And the real tragedy here, to remind you, to those of you who may be new, to those of you who may not be aware, like I have to freaking spell it out to you, bloody donuts. Why do I even have to, you know what? Why do I have to spell this out? It does not require an explanation why children should be allowed to see both of their parents, or in this instance, their father. It should not require an explanation. But for the morons, for the absolute donuts in the stream, this is for you. What are the harms of children, daughters in particular, but children in general, being deprived access of seeing their fathers? Well, 63% of all youth suicides are from fatherless homes. 80% of rapists, as you can see on the screen, are from, lo and behold, who would have thought, fatherless homes. 71% of all high school dropouts are from, you guessed it, fatherless homes. 85% of children who have behavioral disorders are from the moon. Psych, Gotti, fatherless homes. 90% of all homeless and runaway children are from fatherless homes. Ooh, sounds like there's a trend here of bad things happening when dad's not home. But let's continue, because it doesn't stop there. Girls, specifically now, as the focus of this discussion is my daughter Joadia, raised without their father, suffer from low self-esteem. Girls with low self-esteem seek validation through promiscuous sex. And girls who engage in frequent promiscuous sex suffer from mental health. Fathers, like myself, are not the real victims in this tragedy. Daughters, like Juwadia, are. And I want you to remember this face. You know what? Forget that. Yeah, some of you don't like my face. Just remember these two faces here. The next time you want to disagree, oh, he must have done something wrong. How many times have I seen that in the comments? He must have done something wrong. It's amazing, Yani, how immediately the common narrative is, oh, dad must have done something wrong if he's not allowed to see the children. But if it's the other way around, no, mum didn't do anything wrong. She's been oppressed. How about this? What did what did Juwayriya do wrong? Ya ibn al-kalb bin... No, it's not swearing, bro. What did my daughter do wrong? Huh? Speak! I'm talking to you, filth. Pooh! Answer the question. Dogs. What did she do wrong? What do you mean? What did she do wrong, Mahdi? What are you talking about? Donut! I will clarify for you. Hmar ibn al-kalb. I will clarify, no problem. These stats I just showed you. Children deprived from seeing their fathers are eminently more likely to suffer from these nasty side effects than children who have access to their father. So I ask you once more, what did she do to deserve this? What did my daughter, Juwayriya, do to deserve this? Why should she be exposed or predisposed to all of this crap here when she did nothing wrong? She did nothing wrong. The courts approve of her seeing her father and indeed had a court order in place for her to see them. What did she, this face here, I don't want you to forget it. What did she do wrong? What did the baby, Hana, what did she do wrong to be deprived of seeing her sister for so long? Answer my question. Pooh, Ibn al-Kalb, I'm talking to you. What did she do wrong? These innocent children, the face of innocence, the faces of innocence, what did they do wrong? For their relationship, never mind dad now, for their relationship between each other to be infringed upon in this way, what did they do wrong? Answer my question. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. Answer me. Speak. Don't worry, your time to speak will come. I will open the lines. I will dismember you. I will humiliate you. No, I shouldn't say that though. No one's going to come up. I'm going to be nice. Ignore all that. Delete. I didn't say. I'm going to be nice. Please come on. And we'll have a nice, civilized conversation. I said I wasn't going to get into this today like this, but you know what? Okay, bruv. We're doing this. Bismillah. All right. Grab some of these chats. Shout out to Ibrahim An'am. Jazakallah khairan, my brother, for the $9.99 super chat. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Shout out to the Cuz Mahdi. Where's the slap button? I got you, bro. I got you. Yes, brother. I got you. Shout out to you, Akhi Ibrahim. Muhammad, Jazakallahu khairan for the MYR3 super chat. I don't know what currency that is, but I appreciate you, my man. Thank you. And Abdul Azim, Jazakallahu khairan for the £9.99 super chat, my guy. May Allah reunite your daughters and sons with you. Allahumma alif bayna qulubikum. Ameen ya Rab. Jazakallahu khairan, Akhi Abdul Azim. I appreciate you, my guy. I'm trying to just pace myself, you know. I don't want my flipping eyeballs to hurt again this evening. That's mad. Imagine your eyeballs hurting after getting so emotionally invested in a discussion, bruv. Okay. Before we continue and go back to Bismillah. Before we how do I remove this, man? Before we go back to the topic of today's discussion with our brother Ali Dawah, allow me to shout out the sponsor of today's live. And I'd appreciate if you would support our sponsor. Barakallahu feekum. Pureoud.com. You can see here, Pureoud are purveyors of the finest quality Agarwood incense chips and oud oil. And right now, for those of you who don't know what oud is, okay, I'll tell you a quick story. When I was working in Saudi Arabia in 2013, as an English teacher, I went to a mall called Rashid Mall. For those of you, if you know, you know, bruv. All right, if you know, you know. I went to Rashid Mall. And I walked into one of the perfume shops, oud shop specifically. And there was a bottle just like this. Okay, this is from pureoud.com. There was a bottle just like this. But it was in a bigger bottle. So you could see the small one, but you could see where it originally came from, the big case, like with the glass thing. And I was like, about to walk over to it and take the lid. They're like, no, don't touch. I was like, oh, what's going on? What's the big deal? It's like, brother, 3 mil, 15,000 riyal. So I said, excuse me? Excuse me, what? What do you mean 15,000 freaking riyal? That's when I was introduced to not your basic bushra oud. No. Your exceptional Ilyas oud. 15,000 riyal, back then it was like divided by 5. So £2,500. Let me say that again. 2.5. Did I do my math right? No, £3,000 for 3 mil. For 3 mil, brother. And that apparently wasn't the most expensive one either. Mate. Pure Oud, this brother here, Jazakallahu khair, he DM'd me on Instagram. He didn't ask for anything. He said, brother, I appreciate your work. I want to send you one of our ouds. This one is called the Pang Sida Oudh, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, and you can see if you want to take advantage of the offer, by the way, it's there scrolling that little ticker box below. If you know oud, you know oud. My nose is blocked right now. Okay, let me show you this. My nose is blocked, but no amount of blockage is going to prevent high quality oud. Look at this. You see that? I don't know if you can see, if you can really see that. No amount, you just put a tiny amount, by the way, tiny, teeny, tiny. Boom, just like that. Tiniest amount on your hand. See that? Rub it in. Boy, strong as. If you know oud, you know oud. I can't describe. You know, sometimes I see a perfume advert on TV and it literally does nothing to me. I'm like, okay, that was a nice horse and she had an interesting dress on. What does the perfume smell like? I can't describe it to you, bruv. If you know it, you know it. Okay. And if you like your high quality ouds, I suggest you hit the link below. In fact, it's in the top pinned comment in the chat right now. It is in the description box right now. And there is a 24-hour offer that you can take advantage of right now. If you're watching this on repeat, there's another offer for you as well. Don't worry. If you've missed the first 24 hours, look in the description box, inshallah. But for those of you who are watching live, go to pureoud.com, check out their stuff, and you'll get 25% off within the next 24 hours, and that's it. Once this stream concludes, you've got 24 hours, and it's done. Bismillah. So shout out to pureoud.com. Jazakumullah khair. Like the video. There's 342 of you in here. I'm about to find out how many likes we got. 342 of you in here, and bruv, 93 likes. Yeah, this is disgraceful. This is disgraceful. We need to get these likes up. If you really want me to get into this, we need to get these danged likes up. So get the danged likes up. Shout out to the original Red Pill, my guy. Jazakallahu khair. That's a massive super chat. Jazakallahu khairan, brother. I appreciate you for the 55 Canadian super chat. Assalamu alaikum, brother. I know a brother who his ex-hijabi wife is trying to convince his daughter, that she is a boy. What? If a woman divorces her husband, she should follow Islamic law only, not the state. طبعا لا شك فيها. Let me see. Okay. أفتؤمنون ببعض الكتاب وتكفرون ببعض. This ayah that he is written here is an ayah from the Quran, which translates to, do you believe in parts of the book and reject other parts of the book? And the continuation of the ayah is, فما جزاء من يفعل ذلك منكم إلا خزي في الحياة الدنيا ويوم القيامة يردون إلى أشد العذاب. And there is no recompense, no return for somebody who behaves like this in the dunya, in the life of this world. إلا خزي في الحياة الدنيا. Except I can't remember what the word khiz is in Arabic, so maybe somebody can. And it's not a nice word. ويوم القيامة يردون إلى أشد العذاب. And on the day of resurrection, he will be sent forth to a painful torment. Let that be a reminder to both man and woman. It's not just pertinent to this discussion that we're having right here on paternal estrangement. This applies to anything. أفتؤمنون ببعض الكتاب وتكفرون ببعض. Do you believe in parts of the book, the convenient parts, the parts that are nice for you because it suits your agenda? وتكفرون ببعض, and disbelieve in other parts because it's not particularly convenient, because it inconveniences your lifestyle. This is a severe warning to you. Whether you are a mother stopping your child from seeing the father, or whether you're anything, bro, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Be careful. This is a warning from Allah. Shout out to you, brother, for the 55 Canadian super chat. Very generous. Jazakallahu khairan. So I was invited onto the Ali Dawah podcast. And on the day that I was invited, we filmed a number of podcasts. Okay, this podcast here, you can see my hooter sticking out there. You can see it. You know what? This could have all easily been resolved. I guess you can't, because my hand, if they had cut it up to here, this brother would have been cut out. So that would have been a bit difficult. And the impression is very interesting that the masses have gotten is that Ali has capitulated. Oops, you can't see me. Is that Ali has given in to the mob, to the masses. Is that Ali has shown weakness. Or has he? Huh? Mahdi? What? What do you mean, or has he? It's a hadith of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, where he repeated a statement 3 times, and then he concluded this particular statement with another line. He said, "Iyakum al-dhann, iyakum al-dhann, iyakum al-dhann, fa inna al-dhann akdhibu al-hadith." And the translation of this hadith is, I warn you of suspicious thoughts. I warn you of suspicious thoughts, or suspicion. I warn you of suspicious thoughts. For verily, the suspicious thoughts are the greatest of lies. And because I know the backstory as to why I have been censored, reading the comments in this particular podcast reminded me of that hadith that I just narrated to you, that I just related to you. And I don't know if I can pick them out because the comments are still coming in on a daily basis. On the first day, there were a lot of comments with regards to why was Mahdi, shout out to disqualified dads, I see the brother here, mashallah. Not just why was Mahdi silenced or whatever, direct attack and insults towards Ali himself, accusing him of cowardice, of capitulating to the mob, of on and on and on. And because I know the backstory, because I've obviously spoken at length with Ali, I found these comments to remind me of that hadith. Not only, by the way, guys, have you gifted so many of your hasanat. For those of you who did comment in this way, you have gifted Ali so many of your hasanat. But you have also, more worryingly or more concerningly, whatever the word is, you've missed the mark. Monday, Ali came to Luton and we sat down and we had dinner. We went to Toro's for dinner. And we spoke about many different issues, many different topics. And before Ali came down on Monday, he already mentioned that he will not be airing the other podcast that we filmed, including this one. I didn't actually know that this one was going to be released on this day because I know he was in two minds whether he was going to release it at all or whether he was going to release it with me edited out. But I can tell you, even though I disagreed with him when he explained his explanation as to why I was not included in the stream, in the podcast, as to why I was edited out, I can tell you, I respect his opinion. I respect his point of view. And in fact, it is a strong argument. He made a strong argument. And actually, it has nothing to do with capitulating to the mob. Nothing at all. And it's not for me to say what this reason is. I can't even give you a hint or an insinuation because al-majalisu amana. And that is the sitting, the gathering between two men. A private gathering is a trust. So I can't tell you what was spoken about or anything of this nature. But what I can tell you is that it was not him capitulating to the mob. It was not him acquiescing to the pressure from Muslim sisters. Not at all. And in fact, myself and Ali, from slightly different angles, we are fighting the same fight. And let me tell you, it is more important that we find common ground and figure out a way to push this envelope, this discussion forward together than to squabble over our petty differences. You know, you will find, this is unfortunately rife in the Muslim community. Those who have the most severe feelings in the Muslim community towards one another are usually those who are closest to each other in faith. This is very common, for example. I don't want to start naming sects because then I'm going to start getting in trouble. But you know what I'm talking about, bruv? Yeah? There are sects in Islam and then subsects of those sects. It is the same sect, but then it's splintered. And there is like a hair difference or a few hairs difference. And that few hairs difference results in so much animosity and hatred almost towards the other person. It's almost as though the more similarities, the more similarities we have in our belief sets, the more we nitpick for something to fight on. Wallahi, you'll find some of these guys, they get on better with kuffar than they do with his own Muslim brother, whose aqidah and manhaj is almost identical to his, but they differ on something. And it's something small, basita, tiny. They hate each other. They can't stand each other. It's a paradox. The more similar you are to someone, the more you work hard to find your differences between each other. There is also ego, which is, I want my opinion to be valued more than the other person's. I want to be the leader of this cause. I want to be the one spearheading this discussion. Me, I'm the focus of attention in this discussion. And this is detrimental to the cause. In this instance here, the cause is what? Well, specifically on this live that we're talking about, the cause is paternal estrangement. Children being deprived of access to their fathers. But on the whole, we discuss feminism, we discuss gender roles, we discuss all of these important things. And frankly speaking, sure, we're going to have differences. Sure, we are not going to agree on a few things. But let me tell you, my friend, in this world, you need allies. And if on the whole you find that your belief sets are aligned, on the whole, better to let things go that you disagree upon for the greater good of pushing the envelope, of pushing this discussion forward, of driving because otherwise, what's going to happen? Oh, these guys, they can't even agree on between each other, and they're going to be the bastions of justice, of pushing this discussion forward. This is not smart. It's not wise. You are gonna disagree by default. You know, I'm nearly finished, and I'm delaying finishing this book because I love it so much. It is the historical book written by a Pakistani general, army general. I forget his name off the top of my head. Jazakallah khair. What an amazing work he did. He actually learnt the Arabic language just to be able to read the historical documents in Arabic so that he could create this book. And it is the book of Khalid bin Walid. Did you know, because I didn't, that Khalid bin Walid and Umar radiallahu anh, they got on? Let me see, I want to find the correct wording. They didn't get on. They did not get on at all. Yani, okay, but okay, let me not say at all. There was ill feeling between both parties, between Umar radiallahu anh and Khalid bin Walid. You know, sometimes when we talk about the companions, we dehumanize them a little bit, you know. And when you read this book, it really humanizes them. What do I mean by dehumanize them? Because it was such a long time ago, and all we read are the amazing stories about them, they kind of become some sort of like saintly figures in our minds, free from the petty squabbles and arguments of us mere mortals. No, they were also mere mortals, human beings. They argued, they had issues, they felt some type of way towards the other, they had problems, but they made it work for the greater good. The day that Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anh died, and the next day when Umar radiallahu anh became Khalif, he removed Khalid bin Walid as general of the army. The next, it was one of his first actions that he took. Khalid bin Walid, he is no longer, he had just defeated the Persians, he had just defeated the Romans, fulfilling the prophecy of the Prophet ﷺ, and now he was removed as general of the army to be just like another soldier. Such that, I forget the name of the Sahabi, it was the one who he was nicknamed the incisors. He lost his front teeth by removing some chain mail from the body of the Prophet ﷺ. I think it was the Battle of Uhud. Badr or Uhud, I can't remember. He was made general, such that he was shy to deliver this news to Khalid. He delayed for a number of weeks. He was shy because he knew Khalid was the man for the job. But Umar was the Khalif, and his decision was final. He had made his decision. He gave his reasons. He spends a lot of money on poets and some other things, and he's wasteful in that regard. He had his reasons. But there was long, I want to use my words very carefully because we're talking about the companions. I was going to say beef. This is not the correct word. There is long historical documentation of there being differences of opinion and feelings between Khalid and Umar from a young age. From when Khalid defeated Umar in a wrestling match and broke Umar's leg. Radiallahu anh. My point is, they had differences. They felt they were human beings, but they made it work for the greater good. And Khalid, being firstly and foremostly a man who fears Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the sword of Allah, he obeyed. The Khalifa spoken, khalas, the Khalifa spoken. Is what it is. You make it work for the greater good, to push the envelope forward and not just your agenda. Otherwise, we don't get nowhere. Otherwise, yeah, let me remind you of this face so you don't forget. Otherwise, children like Juwayriya and Hana continue remaining the victims. These are the victims here of this nonsense that's happening in the family court system. So, without further ado, I spoke to Ali yesterday, and I have invited him. He mentioned to me he's not sure if he will be able to come on, because typically this is a day that he spends with his family. However, I will ask him if he's able to come on, and I'm also going to be bringing on a couple of other gentlemen as well. So our brother Ahmed Raidan from MFSF will be coming on, the brother who spoke the most. He was the starring figure in the podcast, in this particular podcast with Ali Dawah. I'll be bringing on disqualified dads, and then I'll be opening the floor as a general thing to the rest of you. If you have been through something like this, if you're a dad going through something like this, maybe you're a mum going through something like this, Maybe you're a mum and you've been estranged from seeing your children. I've seen cases like this. I've had sisters reach out to me. If that's you, let's talk about it. I welcome you on. And of course, I welcome the peasants who dare try to unhinge me in debate or whatever you want to do. I opened that floor last time and the peasants, they stayed quiet. They were waffling in the comments, but then that was about it. Like a fart in the wind. It's like, is there a smell? No, it's gone. So I will put this link right now. Let's do this. Copy. Boom. So Ahmed, if you're watching, you're welcome on. Boom. Okay. That link is in the chat. Now I will also replace the top pinned comment. Let me do this. I will replace the top pinned comment in the chat so that you can access it with ease. Replace pinned message. Boom. Don't forget to support our sponsors, Pure Oud. Barakallahu feekum. Supporting them supports future streams like this. If this stream has resonated with you in some way, just know that supporting the sponsors of this stream supports future streams and discussions like this of pushing that envelope forward. So make sure you do that. The link is in the chat. You can now call in. We will take a brief pause and I will be bringing on our speakers, inshallah. Bismillah. Where am I? Right, enough of that. I know you guys like that tune, but you know what? We've got more important things to do. Ahmed Raidan, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, akhi. How are you doing?
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wal aqibatu lil muttaqin wa la udwana illa ala al-zalimin. How are you, akhi?
Alhamdulillah, I'm good. I'm good. Just catching up with all the stuff that's been going on. It's been interesting to see. That's for sure.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Please, akhi, introduce yourself to the people, who you are, what you do. Obviously, the focus of that podcast was what you do with Muslim Fathers for Justice. But please, just for those who don't know you, just introduce yourself to them, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. My name is Ahmed Raidan. I am the member of the Muslim Father Support Forum. What the Muslim Father Support Forum do is help fathers get access to their children via the court system. That's basically what we do all day long. And alongside of that, we help fathers with their mental health. We're building a brotherhood as well, because there's many fathers historically that have been through this that have been alone. This is the first time that we're actually stepping up, bringing brothers together so that we can share our stories. Because for too long we've been silenced, and exactly what you're experiencing, Brother Mahdi, through all of this, is that when men are speaking about these subjects, we're getting silenced. So that's what we're doing.
So you've obviously you've gone public with your story, Akhi Ahmed. It was a very emotional story when I heard it on Hamza Zors's podcast. Do you mind just telling the people what you specifically went through yourself? I know you mentioned it on that podcast again for those who may be watching this for the first time.
So, I mean, our stories are kind of similar. So I've not seen my children from the first marriage. It's coming to about 7-8 years, if not more.
Wow, subhanallah.
So I've got my son now. He's 22. My daughter, she's 16. I've also got twins, alhamdulillah, and they just turned 4 this week. Mashallah. And they've never met. At least with you, you know, you met and they know each other. They've still had that. My 2 sets of children haven't even met yet. They're about 3-4 miles apart. So yeah.
Wow.
So just go back through my story. So in 2010, I got divorced from my then wife. Alhamdulillah, it was amicable. You know, we parted ways, and it was just like, right, we had an agreement. We had a property. I said, listen, this property, I'll pay it off, and it'll be for the children. You stay in it, you look after the kids. I don't want a penny from you. Just maintain. But you know, this investment is for our children, so that they have something later in life. Brilliant. That's what we had. For 5 years, I had no issue. I saw my children every week, every weekend. I used to pick them up, take them to my mum's house. We used to spend the nights, all that stuff, drop them back. So then in 2015, I got married again. And that's the first. And at that point, what happened, I received some solicitors' letters. I won't bore you with them, but basically the upshot of it was she wanted the house. When I said no, we were only married Islamically. So when she when she put in a claim for the house, I said, no, I'm not giving you that. The next thing I know, the kids they stopped coming. They're claiming that, oh, this, that, the other, made some usual rubbish up. But then what happened after that was one day I'm getting ready to go uni. At the time I was doing my master's in cybersec or something. And then bang, bang, bang on the door. It was the police, and they took me. And the next thing I know, I'm getting charged with or facing allegations of rape and child abuse, basically. Like I've been touching up my daughter inappropriately. That's what led on. And then from there, it became a 2-year battle, in essence. After that 2-year battle, I had to surrender half my house. Well, you know, I had to surrender the house. She bought out 50% of it. She wanted 100%, but luckily the courts wouldn't. At least they gave me 50%. But what I want to explain to people, because in one of the comments there was, how did they take this from you? And I think this is what we know. So and I didn't know what was going on. 2015.
Akhi Ahmed, your internet is something. Akhi Ahmed, can you hear me? There's something going on with your internet. It's making your voice and your image jar.
Okay, just bear with me a second. Is that any better?
That's better. Yeah, that's better.
Alhamdulillah. I'm sorry. So where did I break off?
So you got bang, bang, bang. Police on the door.
Yeah. So then I faced allegations of rape and child abuse, where that I inappropriately touched my daughter. So that was the start of the process. Moved 2 years on. Basically, I had to sell my half of the house. She wanted 100%, but
so just so this is not lost on the people. Just so this is not lost on the audience. You were accused 5 years later, after you had refused to give up your house, of
Hmm.
graping your own daughter.
Well, graping the mother and inappropriately touching my daughter.
Right, raping the mother and inappropriate. Well, it's basically the same thing,
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
inappropriately touching the daughter. Okay, so just so that
yeah.
point is not lost on you guys. Okay, Bismillah, tafadhal,
And
continue,
also
akhi.
another point is all this started after I got married, after I
Aha,
remarried. That's an important part of it because I've seen some of the comments and some of the sisters saying stuff, but this kind of stuff does go on, especially when men remarry, trouble begins. So anyway, so for 2 years, this was the kind of long battle I was in. I didn't have the help, and from that, the court gave me 50% of my property, even though I owned it. But thankfully, 50 at least gave me 50%. At least I wasn't starting from zero again.
right.
Um, and from that, that's what basically led to me starting MFSF. And helping brothers because I didn't want nobody else to go through this. I just want to explain because there was one of the questions in the comments when I read through Ali's podcast. That they're saying that, oh, how could they do this to you considering that you only had a nikah, and that in your name. So what happened was there was a systematic, um, and that's where this is where the knowledge needs to be, where all the brothers need to get their knowledge. So what happened was she started off by first taking a non-molestation order out on me and an occupation order. I'm sure a lot of brothers who are going through this this will sound very familiar because this is a standard process they kick off. What that did, that meant for 1 year I couldn't go nowhere near my kids, I couldn't go nowhere near my house, even though I owned it. And she had occupation order, and there's nothing I could do about it. So that was 1 year wasted. Then on top of that, um, then after that's done, then whilst that's coming to an end, she puts in an application to the courts called a Tolata application. And because at this point now I've got no relationship with the kids because it's been a year, and she's got kids. So there's leverage in this, and this is another aspect that people, I've seen the comments, some of the sisters saying, "Oh, this, that, the other." There is a financial gain out of this because if a father, well, let's go back to this. So she used that as leverage to take the property off me. It's theft. It's straight up theft. According to Sharia, right? Forget law of the land. As Muslims, we follow the Sharia. The Sharia is there
Mhm,
for us.
mhm.
It's theft, right? And that's that. So now another aspect to this is by me not having access to my children, she can now claim the highest rate of child maintenance.
Okay. Again, I don't want this point lost on the people, yeah,
Mm.
because the less you see the children as a father, the
Hmm.
more she can claim from child maintenance, which, by the way, is a private company. Am I correct in saying that?
That's
They're not.
correct.
They're a
Yeah,
do you know what a private company is, bruv? For profit. For profit. So the more money they can extract from dad, the more commission they can extract from mom. So they are incentivized to allow dad to see the kids and kids to see dad as little as possible because this is great for the bottom line. This is good for
absolutely.
business. Kids seeing dad is bad for business. I don't
Yeah.
want that point lost on people.
And I think that it's a very good point there, Brother Mahdi, because one thing you can realize is, I think that was it 200 million a year is family court, if not more than that. But I think that's what they're making a year. There's 40,000 in 2020. I think there's about 40,000 odd cases of just for family contact for in family court, right? So 40,000 men, and every year that is going up by 5%.
It's
So
going up.
yeah, it's going up. It's not going down. It's going up.
Wow.
So right. Then we go back to the CMS, the wonderful CMS. So it's a government department, but it's run by a third-party company. I think it's G4S or somebody from that kind of ilk. These people are making 42 million plus a year in profit, and the way they make the profit is the fleece people, especially more the paying parent, because they do things like DOE, which are deduction of earning orders, which basically take money directly from your paycheck. And those kind of orders, they extract like thousands of pounds from you, unnecessary, and they create fictitious arrears. This entity, there's a chap called Brian Hudson who's written a report on this. And in that report, he's basically identified that the CMS drive 1,000 men at least a year to suicide.
Mm.
And shout out to Sister Sally-Ann Burris for those of you to go check out the work she's done on this. Um, and she's really been quite vocal on the dirty tactics of the CMS. And especially for the brothers, get to know how that system works. Protect yourselves in every aspect you can.
I mean, you know what, Akhi Ahmed, I need to just pause for a second on this point here because you mentioned that they drive 1,000 fathers a year to suicide, and for those fathers who may be uh, entertaining such thoughts, or it's creeping in your mind, look, you've heard the cliched saying, diamonds are formed under pressure, or whatever it is. Pressure forms diamonds, right? It's very cliched and old and boring, but it's true. There will come a time when you will be thankful for this experience. Right now, however, whilst you are not thankful for this experience, obviously it's very painful, you need to know one thing. If nobody else on this planet needs you, if there is no other purpose for your existence, that you have no value to offer anyone, just know this: your children need you, even if they don't know it yet. They need you. So if you are entertaining these thoughts, you need to quickly oust these thoughts from your mind by engaging in productive endeavors, get into the gym, positive group of circle of brothers, start doing stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Start pursuing a goal, a mission, because this will help to distract your mind. And actually, you'll be able to take that pain and use it as fuel, which is what the likes of Ahmed and myself have done ourselves. We've found a mission. Now we're able to take that pain and use it as fuel. And it's extremely, extremely beneficial fuel. It's rocket fuel. It's nuclear.
Mm.
But until then, you just need to know this: your kids need you. The moment you take your life, your pain doesn't stop with you. Your pain doesn't stop just because your life stopped. No. The moment you take your life, you transfer your pain onto your children, because now they have lost their father. A gaping hole will open up in their hearts that will never ever close for the remainder of their lives. And maybe even it will push them to suicide. Taking your life doesn't end the pain, it transfers it onto your children. And you are more equipped to deal with that pain than your innocent children are. Naam, akhi.
Absolutely. No, that's really good advice here, brother, because that's just it. It is a dark and very lonely place. Just to confirm as well, like this is not all sisters doing this to brothers. We have to say that there are there are good sisters out there. Alhamdulillah, I'm remarried. My wife's great, and there are many great women out there. We're not saying that, but we're just talking about the ones that do this horrific practice. Have a think about what you're doing, and for the brothers that are feeling down, lonely, and you feel like you're alone and you're just fighting through the slog, and you've got nowhere to turn to, come check us out at mfsf.uk. And join the brotherhood. Speak to men, because I think one of the things is when you're going through it, when you speak to people that have never been through this, never experienced this, they just give you, or make sabr and make dua, it doesn't cut it. But when you speak to men and the people that have been through it, it resonates more, and then you'll find that it is a shared experience, and then you actually find out that actually, you know what, I'm not alone in this, which is a really important piece. And we see it, I tell you, every second, third week, I get somebody calling me up and they're almost suicidal and saying, I can't take it anymore, because it's like I feel like my heart's gonna it's breaking, it's gonna pump out my chest, and I can't do it no more. The anxiety and everything's kicking in, and we have to talk them down, and this is the reality. And this is the thing where what people don't see. The sisters are vocal about their pain, and listen, nobody's trying to take that away from you. That's your truth. But equally, men have their truth as well, have their experience. It's not mutually exclusive. Not that, oh, if women are being abused, that means men can't be abused. No. You just have bad people. You don't have bad genders, you just got bad people. And bad
what
people
about
do bad things.
the point that I don't want lost on the audience as well, Akhi Ahmed, is the pain that the children go through.
Oh,
You
absolutely.
know?
Okay, so look, I've got twins in my house, right? And I was just watching your live, and I saw the beautiful picture of Juwaria and Hannah. And I thought, Aki, I don't even have that. I don't even have all my children together in a photograph.
Wow.
And I just I just think, these poor kids, they're going to grow up not knowing that their own blood. This is what's kind of going on, and this totally goes against Islamic principles.
Mm.
It tells us about not breaking family ties. Like you spoke about the Hamzat Tazorti thing. I forgot the sheikh's name that spoke in it, but even
Yeah,
he said, "Listen, alcohol becomes halal in certain circumstances.
yeah,
Swine meat becomes halal in certain circumstances,
yeah.
but this withholding access to children, never, never,
Uh,
never." And I know there's people out there putting certain narratives and stuff like that trying to justify that is making making haram halal,
mm.
right? And that is one of the signs, and we all know where that is. I'll let somebody with more knowledge, Islamic knowledge than me, speak on that one.
I mean, I still, because I didn't know this, by the way, that the child maintenance are a private organization.
Mm.
Bro, how can that be a business? How can that be how is that allowed by the government for it to be it blows my mind that you can make a profitable business out of splitting up family homes, and
Well,
that they are incentivized to allow for dad to see the kids as little as possible, because the more he sees the kids, the less they can take from him from his wages. The less he sees the kids, the more they can take from him, give to mum, and the bigger their cut, their commission cut as well. How is this allowed to be an actual profitable business model? It blows my mind. How?
well, it comes down to this, isn't it? We know how the government works. It all works on mates, and they've all got there'll be there'll be politicians that have shares in these companies. These companies lobby the politicians. The
Flipping
system's
hell.
designed that way. I don't know if you've seen recently as well. So they're twisting up the system. So what they want to do with the CMS is basically they want to absolutely stop fathers from they take your passport, put you in jail, put a tag on you if you've not paid up.
Whoa.
They want to run through these kind of types of laws. Again, check out the work of Sister Cyan Burris on Split the Difference. If you want to know more about this, check that out. But that's the kind of dirty practices that are coming into place, and they're going to really affect thousands upon thousands of men across the country. And but again, it comes back to, because like we saw with the PPE stuff, how all that money, all that COVID money was being dished out to all their friends, companies that are just overnight getting millions, with dodgy with PPE that wasn't even working. Same principle here, and they're all creating a
You know
system
what this
to
reminds
oppress
me
and
of, I
break.
think? This reminds me of an ayah in Surah Al-Baqarah, very early on in Surah Al-Baqarah, where Allah says, uh, oh, subhanallah. وإذا قيل لهم لا تفسدوا في الأرض قالوا إنما نحن مصلحون ألا إنهم هم المفسدون ولكن لا يشعرون. And when we say to them, don't cause mischief on the earth,
Mm,
they say, no, we are but reformers.
mm.
Allah says, Allah, and verily they are the ones who are causing mischief upon the earth, and they don't even realize it.
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly that. And it is exactly that. And this is, and from a Muslim perspective, we've got the guidance, we've got the knowledge, we know what's right and wrong. Allah's given us that to us. And yet now and let's be very clear here. I want to be very clear here. Don't say that, oh, these are going to be non-practicing sisters that are doing this to brothers. These are sisters with hijab, niqab, pray 5 times a day, the 5 pillars, the lot. And if you were to speak to them, you'd be like, no, no, not her. And
Yeah,
it's just absolutely diabolical, the dirty practices that have been employed by these sisters to stop breaking the ties with these poor kids. Going back to these poor kids, these kids want to see their dad. They know something's not right. Like we said, especially when they're young, they know something's not right. I miss my dad. I'm going to
yeah,
school. And I
yeah.
see brother Abdullah's there with his dad, and they're kicking the football about whilst they're in the playground before the whistle's blown, right? And where's my dad? Why am I holding a hand here? And I'm not seeing my dad, and all this. And sports days comes along, and all these things. And these poor kids, or the sons and daughters, are missing out, and there's a pain within them. And as those stats you pointed out earlier, you can see why fathers' homes creates that, because there's a yearning. Then these people go chasing something that fix, and that's what it's leading to. So when you are doing this, you might be winning initially. You might be winning for 10, 15 years. You might even get a healthier bank balance, live your best life, go to Dubai, eat that salt-based steak, all that jazz. Yeah, great. But remember this much: your children will pay the price for your transgressions. And then not only that, remember the ultimate justice that on the day of judgment, the day of accountability, doesn't matter what your gender is, man, woman, right? It's going to be, everything's going to be held accountable. And I think people need to think about that.
Ahmed, you mentioned in your podcast with Hamza that, and I don't want to paraphrase, I want you to say it yourself. I don't want to misquote you, but that there was a period of time where you didn't see your children, and then you saw your son again a number of years later, and you were like strangers. Do you mind just running that story through again, please? Because I have a
Yeah.
question.
So this happened must have been about 3 years ago. So where I work in the city centre in Leicester. The place I work is quite close to the hospital, and randomly I get a text from the ex saying, "Your son's in hospital. He's in A&E. He's busted his leg or something." All right. I said, "Oh, okay." So I thought, right, I myself, I legged it down them and got into A&E. And now I've not seen my son at this point. Must have been about 6 years, 5, 6 years. I've not seen him now. So last time I saw him, he was like a 14-year-old boy. At this point, he must have been about in his 20s, just early 20s, or just before 20. I walk in, see him. Now he's sat down, then he stands up. At this point, now this guy at that point must have been about what, 5'3", 5'4". Now I see him, he's 6'4". He's like, "You, Mahdi,
Shot up a
you're
whole
kind
foot.
of, yeah, right."
Wow.
And I'm like, wow, like, and I'm talking to him, and I'm saying to him, "Son, like, Bashir, what were you up to? How you been? This, that, the other." And he's like, he's a bit cagey with me, and and that warmth, that feeling, that connection. I saw you come into the world. I changed your nappies. I fed you. I took you madrasa. I took you school. All these things, football, this, that, the other. Taught you how to pull you on the ripstick, one of those kind of skateboard things. Taught you how to ride a bike. All these things, I was there, and now you're a complete stranger. I've got a better connection with some white people I work with. I've got more of a relationship with them than I have with my own son. And that was that. I walked out. Well, I spoke with him for 5 minutes, and I realized this is going nowhere. I walked away,
And
and
that was him as a grown up, like he's a grown man now, and
yeah,
still that feeling is still there.
yeah, absolutely, because the poison runs deep, and I think this is what you don't realize. And the thing, when this goes into into a child's psyche, it embeds itself so deep.
Yes.
And in all honesty, I keep looking and thinking, where's the solution? How do we work this out? How even me, I have to find the capacity in myself to like try and work this out. It's difficult, and this is why, for all the fathers out there, don't give up. Keep fighting the fight. I wish I had the knowledge I've got now. I had it back then. Things would have turned out completely different. I would have known how to go about it a lot better. Instead, I relied on some shyster solicitors that just took me on a path to fleece me. They weren't they didn't care about me. And and that's why. So how you set up and how you go fight this thing is very important. So, and if you are struggling with this, come see us. Inshallah, we can give you some guidance. We have had an influx. I'm going to say this out here. Due to the podcast and stuff, we've had a major influx. So just bear with us. We're a small team. A lot of it's voluntary and what have you. But we have lots of good knowledge, and we can help brothers. And we can even help some sisters as well. We do help some sisters who are going through this, who don't have access to their kids. We're pro both parents having access to their children, because this is what's good for the child. We always say what the effect on the child. The child having both parents in their lives is the best thing for them.
Mm.
So and that's what we're for. So do reach out, inshallah, and we'll try and help you out. But it's a bitter pill to swallow, knowing that. I don't know. I'm still every night before I go to sleep, I make dua, and I think, what can I do? What needs to happen? How's this going to work? And I just can't find the answer.
Even now, subhanallah.
Even now, and it's going to be even worse for my daughter. My daughter was a lot younger now, so she's really been indoctrinated with the hate, or with the poison.
How old is she now, your daughter?
She's 16. So I just I can't get to her just yet as well, because You know, because every time I do try to reach out or things like that, I get the police harassment. Da 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 da. Akhi, there's so much more to my story. Inshallah, in time, I'll tell more of it. But I just want to say, even now, from a Muslim perspective, we just don't have the help that's kind of out there for Muslim men and women. How we're divorcing and stuff. I think this is where we need to maybe look at something. But we can't fix these things without being heard. And alhamdulillah, I just want to thank you for letting me come onto your platform and sharing my
Of course.
story and discussing this. And I give credit to you as well, Mahdi, for voicing up. Because I think this is it. When people are shutting down voices, you're not seeing the other side. There's plenty of sisters that will voice up and give you their version of it. But remember this much, as Sheikh in Leicester said to me once: there's her version, there's his version, and then there's the truth.
Mhm.
Right?
Powerful.
And I think we need to realize that. And before we start casting sort of judgments and whatnot, sometimes I'll be straight with you. A lot of the sisters that do go down this path, they're being misled. They're being misled by aid organizations. They're being misled by friends. I've got a brother. Some sister was telling his ex-wife, "Oh, go claim domestic abuse." And
Wow.
because what you'll get social housing. This was out in Birmingham or something, I think. And you'll get social housing.
So that
And
proper strategizing.
yeah.
Oh,
And if
man.
this is from another Muslimah to Muslimah. This isn't
Wow.
some random Tracy telling Fatima something. This is Aisha telling Fatima, right? And
God.
this is just it's just absolutely horrific when we see these things, because these things are destroying our homes. It's destroying our ummah, and we're going to see our children just going off in different directions, and we're seeing it already, but it's going to be even more so, and we've contributed to that.
And especially as men, we have a habit of shutting down, of not wanting to talk. But women are more inclined towards talking, speaking out, and so on. Whereas as men, not only do we have a habit of shutting down and not talking, but we are actually criticized, if you like, for talking, or for, oh, but you're a man, who cares, sort of thing. And that's why I say, okay, yeah, you're absolutely right. I'm a man, who cares? I agree. It's true. Men are expendable. Men are the ones who are the first to be deployed to war, the only ones to be deployed to war, for that matter. Men are the men are expendable. Okay, fine. Men are expendable. I agree with you. But then, would you say that this individual, let me just share this again for those who missed it. This is Juwaria expendable? Is Hana expendable? Okay, fine. I'm expendable. Brother Ahmed is expendable. Other fathers who are going through this are expendable. I agree. We're expendable. Who cares about our plight? Okay, fine. But what about these two faces here? Let me zoom that for you. Are they expendable? Is she expendable? Because that's what you're saying. What you're saying is you don't matter, dads. Okay, fine. Yes, okay, I agree. Dads don't matter. But at the same time, you are saying Hana is expendable and Juwaria is expendable, and neither of them matter. Why? Because when Hannah and Juwaria don't get to see their father, when Sophia doesn't get to see her dad, when Sarah doesn't get to see her dad, and all the other children who have been deprived from seeing their dad, when they don't get to see their fathers, they are the ones who suffer the most. I don't want that point lost on people. So whether you like it or hate it, whether you have empathy towards the plight of fathers going through this or you don't, it doesn't matter. Even if you hate men, even if you're a misandrist, if you claim to love your children, then you must act and behave in a manner that is in your child's best interests. And your child's best interest involves your father, their father, being in their lives. You know what, Akhi Ahmed? I've never shared this before, but I feel like this is the time to share. I actually shared this with Ali the other day when we had dinner together. Let me just share my screen. So there's a story to this, what I'm about to share with you right now. Bismillah. Never shared this before. Bismillah. Can you guys see that? You can see that, Akhi Ahmed, yeah? Subhanallah. So this is an ayah from the Quran. Me and the mother of my children, Let me see. Sorry, I need to. No, this one is best. This is way back in 2016. We were having a disagreement once again, and my father came over to arbitrate between us. And this was towards the end of the marriage now. The marriage was on its last legs. Now, my eldest two children, I put them through Islamic school, and they're able to read and write fluently in Arabic. And this is 2016 or 2017. And this was written by my son, Abdurrahman. And we're having this argument, me and my wife, and my father is there. He's arbitrating between us, trying to arbitrate between us. And my 9-year-old son, Abdurrahman, he comes and he gives this ayah to my father. Now, my sons, they can read and write fluently in Arabic, but they don't understand Arabic fluently. Okay? And my sons, I taught them from my tongue, I taught them maybe 4 ajza from the Quran, 4 or 5 chapters of the Quran from my tongue, and then they learned more with the Quran teacher. I paid for a private Quran teacher for them, so they know more Quran than me. Abdurrahman knows more Quran than me anyway. I don't know about now, but back then he did. Abdurrahman, he memorized Juz Amma when he was 4 years old. Before he turned 4, he knew Juz Amma. Al-Muhim. He gives this ayah to my father, and I see my dad's face, Ahmed, drop. And he looked to him. He went, "What made you write this?" That was his initial response, Akhi Ahmed. He looked at my son, who was 9 years old at the time, Abdurrahman, and he said to him, "What made you write this?" And when I explain to you the translation of this ayah, you're going to understand why. And I said to my father, what is it? What did he do? He said to me, "Do you understand this verse, Mahdi?" And I said to him, "No." And then he told me. And the verse is as follows. بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم استحوذ عليهم الشيطان فأنساهم ذكر الله أولئك حزب الشيطان ألا إن حزب الشيطان هم الخاسرون. The translation is, Akhi Ahmed, استحوذ عليهم الشيطان. Shaitan, he came between them. فأنساهم ذكر الله. And he made them forget about the remembrance of Allah. أولئك حزب الشيطان. Verily, they are the party of Satan. ألا إن حزب الشيطان هم الخاسرون. Verily, the party of Satan, they are the losers. When my father, because my father is obviously native Arab, when he translated this ayah to me, I took this piece of paper and I kept it. And I still have it to this day. And I don't know what made my son write that, especially considering that he doesn't understand the Arabic language, but it was almost as though this was like a reminder from Allah to us that all of these petty squabbles you're having, this is causing you to stray from the remembrance of Allah, which is ultimately the end goal here. Yes, that is the end goal. The remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Jannah. So this is like this small piece of paper here. There's a lot of emotion packed into this piece of paper here for me. It's a very, very significant piece of paper, and I treasure it, and I still have it to this day. Abdurrahman probably doesn't even remember that he wrote it.
No, absolutely. We'll read that ayah there and the translation you've given. It's exactly that, because it just kicked up thoughts in my head, because the amount of times we see sisters, excuse me, that are going to certain agencies for assistance, they're getting trapped. They're put on a conveyor belt, and this is Shaitan's work. And Shaitan
What do you
comes
mean?
and
What
whispers.
do you mean they're getting trapped? Tell me what you mean by that.
So there's a couple of sisters that basically go to a certain agency. I won't say the name of the agencies, but I think everybody will figure out. It's an aid agency, as they claim. That's for a particular gender.
Right.
So once you get through those doors, their mission is to remember this much: when you're through them, and as much support they give you, they get money from the government for it, and it helps their stats and their narrative. And the final bastion, they've conquered the indigenous community, right? They've got them, but the people of color communities, that's where the next payload is. And you can, so you can see that they've really gone to town on this. And I've heard from a few sisters, about 3-4 sisters that have been put on that conveyor belt, and they've got the whispers of Shaitan creeping into their ear. You'll get a house. You'll get benefits. He'll give you money. You can take his house. You can take this. You can get that. You can do this. You can make him pay for this, that, the other. All those whispers start kicking in. and the women start to go for it. The ones that have taqwa, they stop themselves. They realize that, hold on a second, I'm going down a bad path. Then they say that when as soon as they say that and they say, look, no, I don't want to do this, these agencies then tell them, right, what we're going to do, we're going to get social services involved, and we're going to take your children away from you. So that
Wow.
so they'll be hell bent on keeping hold of you. Like, Shaitan comes with a smile, right? It's like a hot day. It's like a big opens a can of Coke, cold Coke, pulls it in front of you. You're thirsty, and you go in, and then you start drinking. Then you start to realize, hold on a second, there's a price to this. And the ones that have taqwa realize, hold on a second, this isn't right. I need to, get out of this place. But they don't let you. It's like a tiger getting its claws inside you. They're like, that's it. We're not letting you go now. And these women are put in real positions, and they'll get so much hassle from social services, all these things, that the women just stay in this lane now because they're trapped. And
Mm.
and again, I think we as Muslims need to create better lanes for this. There are people that need help, right? Sisters that need help. Yeah, let's create better services for this. Looking around, the services that Muslims get given, what we're getting a different lens, different understandings. They're taking us away with our deen from this understanding. But if we
Mm.
create services that have deen at the center of it, we'll get better results. Even look, divorce is one of those things, that's fine, but we can
Yeah,
separate
look,
better.
I mean, look, divorce, as sad as it is, it's not the end of the world. It
Mhm.
is sad. It's very sad. Like when my when I wa- when my wife, my first wife, when she was going through the process of getting her khul, which is where the woman initiates divorce, my eldest son, man, like it really hurt. He went through a lot, man. Like he's like a young man now, so I don't want to say too much on his behalf, but it really hurt him a lot. And he would make dua, like when we're in the car. Oh, Baba, I hope you and Mama get back together. Like all the time. Ummi, he used to call her Ummi back then. All the time. Like, it really, really hurt him. But sometimes there is a scenario where mom and dad continuing to remain together actually causes the children more harm
Mm.
than mom and dad going their separate ways. Amicably, of course, and then the children having contact between them. It's not ideal. The best case scenario would be for the kids to be raised in a nuclear home. 100%, I am with you. But there are instances where mom and dad remaining together causes the children more harm, more psychological harm, than if they had simply gone their separate ways because of the irrevocable
Mm.
differences that they have between them.
I think as well as a society, I think we need to start sort of the divorce word. Yeah, I understand. Look, it's frowned upon by Allah. It's displeasure of Allah and everything. But for those that are divorced, we don't need to demonize them. These things happen. We need to create that kind of environment where basically people can break away amicably. But we're not going to be able to get there without conversations and without
And
honesty.
to be clear as well, it is the last resort. And
Mm,
just because I said I don't want that to be taken out of context now. Oh, Mahdi said it's not the end of the world. Great, let me get a divorce. No, it is the last resort, and this you should be exhausting. Bro, I went through hours and hours and hours of
mm,
arbitration with so many different family members, met
mm.
extended family that sheikhs brought in to arbitrate between us, all sorts, and only then, if you've tried your very level best to make it work and it still doesn't work, then fine. Because you know why? You will have no regrets.
Mm.
I can tell you to
Absolutely.
this day, I have no regrets. None at all, alhamdulillah. Actually, on the
Mm,
contrary, I feel relieved. That's a whole
mm,
nother story because it was a bit hellish going through that. And sometimes, let me add to that. Let me speak to that. When you're in that maelstrom of emotions, you just feel like this is normal. It's only when you come out of it that you realize, man, that
mm,
was not normal. I
mm.
should not have been
Yeah.
going through that for so long. This was not normal, you know. But only if you've exhausted all options. Otherwise, you will have regret. So exhaust all possible options and avenues of fixing your marriage first, and then and only then, fine. You didn't work? Okay, fine. It is what it is. Because as I say, sometimes staying together is more harmful than leaving, than separating. Ahmed, if you don't mind, Akhi, like, do your kids see the work that you do online?
I'm assuming so. I know my son most probably gets some of it because I think a few people that I know, he looks a bit like me. A better looking version than me. That's for sure. So I think a few people have approached him. Brothers that I've helped in the community. I think one brother, he met him down the gym, and he just looked at him. He goes like, "Do you know Ahmed Ryan?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, that's my dad." It's like, "Oh right." He goes, "Oh, your dad, really helped me." And just he did say, "Yeah, I do. Yeah, I've heard about that about my dad." But I don't know. I think that this is it. Sometimes, it's one of those. I think maybe when he gets a bit older and he has his own confidence. Maybe when he's away when he has his own space and his own life, maybe then he'll have what he needs to reach out. Inshallah, I'll have the capacity of what I'll have what I need to facilitate that and reconcile everything, because it's tough all round, because there's so much emotions in these situations, and it can overtake you. So I think it's one of those. I even look the amount of brothers I help and stuff. I still have to work on myself through this, because it is that painful. It is that difficult, and that's what you're creating. You're creating such a difficult situation that this poor young lad, he's 22 now, right? He shouldn't be having to deal with this. He should have his dad next to him, especially now. Especially now, he's going to be on that journey towards finding a wife, getting married. He's going to go in the world of work, especially as a Muslim, as a brown skinned person in the UK. He's going to deal with certain challenges that his father's been through. He want to have that to lean on and get some guidance. He's not going to have that, and all because somebody's decided that you're going to be a pawn in a game for me to get something. I'm not saying all cases are like that, but in my particular case, this is what comes of it. And then more importantly, my poor daughter. Me and my daughter. We had such a beautiful relationship, like fathers and their daughters. I'm sure every father that's listening to this will know exactly what I'm talking about. Like your son, you got to keep him on a line, but your son's your soul, but your daughter's your heart. It's just that love you have, that warmth. This is where what unconditional love is. And my daughter's, she's not had that for 8 years. And and she's seen other people, her friends, her peer groups have that from that love, but she can't have that. And then she's been poisoned, and then she knows within herself. I firmly believe that she knows within herself that something's not right here, and she in time, inshallah, we
I
will
mean, she's
always
still
make the
very
right
young.
choice.
It's still very young.
Yeah,
16 years old
yeah.
is still super
And
young,
that's
man.
just and it's people say, oh, why don't you go do this, why don't you do that? And how can I put this kind of pressure? I just want to, go back to a little bit to my story. So I just want to share with you. So at the time when I was going through this, and I was going to make an application to see the kids to court and stuff. Now this stupid lawyer I had, gave me the worst advice ever, saying that, oh, do you know that there could be a chance where your daughter could get a physical examination because of the allegations being made?
Wow.
And I thought, what are you saying?
Wow.
And I had to, for I must have been about 2 months. What I'm waking up in the morning, it's like, yeah, I'm going to make the application. Then at night, no. Then in the morning, I wake up with no. Then I'm going to sleep with yes, and this, that, the other, this, that, the other. To the point where back then I had black hair everywhere. It is all turned grey from like that kind of pressure. To the point where I just like, you know what, I can't do this. I'm her dad. No matter what's going on, I'm still her dad. It's my job to protect her. And me subjecting her to this, even if there's a chance of this, right? I can't do that. So I just had to like step back and just draw a line and move forward with my life.
So
And
that they wouldn't do that physical examination.
yeah, exactly. And even if it was just like a 3% chance, and it was 3% too much in my eyes. And these are the kind of things this is what we face on the other side. When you're seeing men being carted off down the police and this, that, the other, and what we're having to deal with, or the kind of decisions we have to make, even going through court where you see lie upon lie. I just watch, so I got received a big whopping statement, right, of allegations. So I'm going to read this little bit out, right? Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it's going to be paraphrasing.
Yeah.
In there was this allegation that I threw her down the stairs. So that we were at the top of the stairs, and I threw her down the stairs. She rolled down the stairs and bust her head up and all this sorts of stuff. This was
The
the
wife
allegation
or
made.
the wife or the daughter?
The wife, the wife, right? So I'm reading this and I'm thinking that's never happened, because whilst we were married, the police were never called to my house. We never went to A&E. So how on earth? Because if somebody's throwing you down the stairs, you got busted ribs, you got, but your nose and everything's going to be buckled up, right? Then, and strangely, this was the weirdest thing. I'm reading it. Then for some reason I had a bit of a flashback, and it occurred to me that this actually happened to her mother by her father. And she took that story and put it into this document. And the reason I'm saying this, that I've seen sometimes in the comments the sisters write this, that there must be a reason, and this, that, the other. This is the kind of stuff that we're seeing in court. We're seeing decent men being accused of being part of Islamic State, or all types of stuff. These are just basic, simple men that just want to see their kids, right? They don't want nothing to do with you. But they just want to, just even at best, they would just want to co-parent with you and just be a salam dua and let me see my kids. That's it. And we're turning it into this. This is what's being produced, and that's all because the sisters are being, not all sisters. Some sisters are being led down a particular path, but that path is straight to Jahannam. Wallahi, honestly.
And it's a path of financial gain. It seems to be lost on them. Yani. You're funding some next corporate fat cat and his bonus, a paycheck at the end of the year, whatever it is, for a few extra pennies.
This is why you see all those solicitors driving their Mercedes Benz and Jags and all this sorts of stuff, and they come in their flashy suits, and they've all been to private school and all that stuff, because they're getting funded so well. And another thing as well, we talk about how corrupt the system is and how it promotes this behavior. To get legal aid, you have to make domestic abuse allegations, right? As simple as that, right? So they want you to fight. The system wants you to fight, and when you're joining in with this, right?
So you have to make a domestic abuse allegation to get legal aid.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's just absolutely ridiculous. And
Akhi Ahmed, this is a good segue for me to bring on our brother Ali, inshallah. Ali's here in the chat. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi, akhi Ali. كيف الحال?
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Barakallahu feek. How are you guys?
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Barakallahu feek. Jazakallah khair. Akhi Ahmed, so just continue that last point, inshallah ta'ala, and then I'll hand the mic over to Ali.
Yeah, so basically, the way the system works, it breeds acrimony. It wants you to fight because it fuels the solicitors and everything. And what they do is, so the people making domestic abuse claims now get sponsored by the state, essentially, right? So then now you got brothers who now have to go into court and they have to start hiring solicitors, and they don't get reduced rates, they get top end rates. So on average, on a basic case, a brother's going to spend about £15,000 in court, right? Yes. If he's got a solicitor getting legal aid. If it's more than that, we've got a couple of brothers that have had to sell property because it's gone 50. One brother who's just told me now, he spent about 400k, right? Yeah, that's one hell of a story. Inshallah, we'll get his story together and we'll get it out there. But you got to see the atrocity that's kind of going on out there. Because what happened for him is, because I believe he's a doctor or got a high-paying job. So he had to pay for his legal fees and her legal fees. Then she went and got like the top-end barristers and solicitors. So he's got to fund that because she was a stay-at-home mom or whatever it was. And everything she took him for money that was absolutely ridiculous amounts. And again, these are practicing sisters. These are sisters that are, hijab, niqab, 5 pillars, all that, and it's just crazy.
Akh Ali, I mentioned at the beginning of this stream that we're fighting the same cause here, and I've gone through the different clarifications and so on, and that these petty differences that we may have between us are not as important as the overall cause that we are pushing. And there's a number of sub causes, if you like, within this cause, and one of those sub causes here is paternal estrangement. And in fact, I don't even want to say paternal estrangement, I want to say child estrangement, because it is the child and the children who are the real victims in this discussion. And obviously, you've had the gentlemen, the brothers on the podcast and so on. I've already clarified the issues. You're welcome to say whatever you want to say on that as well if you want. I've been through it. If you're just joining in the stream now, go back to the beginning and watch again if you can, for context, inshallah.
Yeah, barakallah feek. You guys can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Firstly, before I start, I want to praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most merciful, the most just. All praises, glory, and gratitude belong to Him. Firstly, I want to, thank, may Allah bless Brother Mahdi as well and Brother Ahmed for inviting me here. And also, I want to, I appreciate, certain people I can disagree with. There's a lot of people I disagree with, but sometimes there's certain characteristics and traits that I look at individuals and I'm like, it's an honorable thing. And I've seen this in you, Mahdi, where in multiple times before, like for example, when I've done videos where about the whole pregnant thing, etc., where I've kind of refuted you, or vice versa, you've had different opinions with myself, etc. You've always held this, like even when people be like, you always hold your tongue when it comes to backbiting. I've observed that this quality in yourself, and I think it's admirable because in today's time, like the video that you've done, people are looking for drama. Oh, let's see what Mahdi's going to say, and and they strive on that. It's like a dopamine rush. And for me to see that, for example, that you have an husnul dhan, like Allah says in the Quran in Surah Hujurat, that indeed some assumptions are a sin. So you could have easily take that and be like, he cut me out. But I just want to say it. I admire the fact that, subhanAllah, that you have these characteristics where you assume the best. And let me tell you something. It is a trait that a lot of people lack. A lot of people criticize you for a lot of stuff. But this one quality in you, Aki, I want to commend you that you assume the best in the believers and you control, like the Prophet ﷺ said, the one who guarantees what's between their tongue and what's between their legs, I will grant them paradise. So this is something that we should be very wary of because many people may be tuned into this to thinking that you're going to backbite and they can join it in there. It's a severe thing. But coming back to our topic, which is again the matter of what's in between the lips, which is false allegations and lies. This to me, this issue of sisters using or stopping their kids from seeing the father, let alone accusing, has been an issue that's been told to me from some of the brothers from your group. I don't want to mention the brother Ahmed's. Couple of years ago, and they were telling me, talk about this, and I said, you know what, bro, this needs its own haqq. This needs to be done in such a way, it cannot be a face to cam. This has to be, I've told them, and I've told brothers, and I'm saying this again, like these sisters have to be confronted face to face. And I'm known for that. I don't give a damn. Far right, anyone that's doing oppression on anybody, to me, I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's a radical feminist who can't see her kids, I will defend her right. Somebody that I despise, if she comes to me and says, Brother Ali, I can't see my kids, and I said, sister, you know what, I hate you for the sake of Allah, but in this, I'm on your side. What do you need from me? My whole platform's at your service. So to me, it's the oppression is so great that cutting ties of kinship, and forget that, bro, to accuse, like Brother Ahmed's story, being accused of, I don't even want to utter the words, with your own child. It's, to me, you have to be evil on another level. There's evil, there's levels of evilness, but you have to be evil on another level to falsely accuse your previous partner of doing certain things to your own and his own daughter. You are evil. So to me, when you said the cause is one, the cause is one. So that's why, alhamdulillah, and I think we need to speak about this more. And that's why, like my platform is there when the Bitter Truth show, when the brothers mention this, inshallah. I invited them, alhamdulillah. It took a bit of time editing, etc. But we need to talk about this issue, whoever it is happening to. Yes, if it's the brother that's not seeing his children, or the sister stopping it, which is a new phenomena, by the way, because we need to talk about this. The new phenomena is that sisters are using their kids against the father. And it has to be spoken about. So to me, it's a big issue. And the whole point of the Bitter Truth is to preserve the family unit. So this is an outright attack. And we will be talking about this a lot. In the coming months, years, we will do another show. We'll be talking to we want to hear this because we need to put stop to this. I know personal cases of brothers I know that cannot see their kids. Wallahi, it's heartbreaking. Like to me, bro, wallahi, if I was in that situation, if the thought bothers me, the thought makes me upset that my own blood, and you're stopping me from seeing my own blood, bro, I'll turn the whole earth upside down. Let me put it like that. I'll turn the earth underneath your feet upside down. Like it's I don't care. Like so to me, it's a severe matter, and there's no excuses. Zero, except unless if you're going to come and say that this father is dangerous to the kid, that's a different story. That's the only exception. Other than that, you have no damn right I don't care if you're hurt that he got married again or he's whatever it may be. I don't care. There's no excuses. You cannot use the kids for your own nafs. That's what Allah says. Have you seen the one who takes his desire as his own God? Because that's what you're doing. You're saying my nafs is hurt, therefore I'm going to cross the boundaries of the Sharia and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at all costs. So yeah.
There's a lot of mental gymnastics that goes on. Like a lot of, you mentioned just now, for example, if the father is violent, a lot of sisters, either they genuinely believe he is dangerous, despite contrary to the fact, yani, the courts have given him the okay and cleared him and so on, or they use that as a trump card. Ahmed just pointed out just now, for example, that in order to get what was it, free what? You have
legal aid.
To get free legal aid, you need to
claim domestic abuse.
Claim domestic abuse.
Yeah.
It's the green card to unlimited legal aid for free. You see, but you need the domestic abuse thing.
I just want to come in on this point here. So the thing is, people can make claims, right? I can claim I play football for Man United, right? And we go on the football pitch and I can't even pass the ball straight to you. Doesn't matter what I said. The reality is something else. And the thing is, a lot of people say this about like fathers. That, oh, they even say it about some sisters as well, right? Some mothers, that, oh, you know, he's dangerous and this, that, the other. But the thing is, there's no police records on this. Remember this much: the family court is civil, not criminal. If I was found guilty, I would have been locked up. If there was evidence and all that sort of stuff. But what you had was one person's opinion. One person's opinion has caused this situation. And that's what we've got. And I find it interesting. I always say this. So, you know, there's a sister I know. She was domestically abused. And I know this because you know why? She won't take a penny from the ex-partner. She has the kids. She doesn't take a penny. She doesn't claim child maintenance. She never took the property, nothing. She said, I want nothing from this man. That to me spoke volumes. Normally, what you do have is sisters claim domestic abuse, this, that, the other. Then they're like CMS. You know, every penny they can get, you know, they'll take you to court to take down the civil path of house and home and all these things. And this is the man. And the thing is, like in my particular case, here's a real interesting point for my particular case. I got accused of those heinous things, but yet she wanted the house that those things allegedly happened.
Yeah.
If such bad things happen, why did you not? You'd leg it. You get out of there. You'd be like, I want to start somewhere fresh, brand new beginnings, and all these things, right? And there's these signs. So this is what people need to start looking. So just when people just say things from the out, just because they've given you an opinion, remember it's just an opinion. Do your due diligence to find out if it's truly fact. And only on that, you know, I think that's a very important point that people need to realize.
I want to be respectful of both of your times, inshallah. Akh Ali, before you leave, inshallah, if you had a message for the mothers who are wrongly, not the ones who genuinely have a case against the dads, and they exist. Yeah. I'm not saying you don't exist. Of course they exist, but they are a minority. But for those women who are wrongly withholding children, weaponizing the children, if you like, and as a result of that, by extension, harming the children, because they are the ones who are harmed the most. Yes, it hurts as a father, but they are the ones who are harmed the most. And what message would you have for these sisters? Or, you know, it doesn't even have to be a sister. She doesn't have to be Muslim. What message would you have for these individuals? And the other way around, by the way, I have received messages of instances of fathers doing the same thing. Rare, yes, but it does happen. What message would you like to deliver, Yani, to these individuals who are perpetrating this crime?
To be honest, with the Bitter Truth Show, we're going to have, like I openly said to the sisters, if there is sisters who the fathers have left their kids, which do happen, the topic is open. We're not there to just talk about one specific gender. This is anything that attacks a family unit, brother's side or sister's side. So I'm open to that. For example, if the sisters are like, you know what, my husband left, doesn't provide, it's just, no problem, come to the show. Let's talk about it. Khalas, let's talk about it, no problem. But in general, to the believers, Muslims who have La ilaha illallah on their tongue, I have to speak to them first. Charity starts at home. I need to fix my house before I go and start talking to the non-Muslims. Yeah, and this is coming from believing men and women. Yes, this is so important that sometimes, you know, we think, and I know sisters are emotional. That's in their nature, you know. I mean, if you want to be in denial, if a feminist sister watching this, you can cry about it all day, all night if you like, but this is the reality. You guys are emotional by nature. So the thing is, sometimes you think that you're being wronged or whatever it may be. And let's say, you know what, it is the case. And I've said this before, you don't violate Allah's laws. What Allah SWT has legislated, you do not take them into your own hands. You can't commit a haram to fix a haram of being wrong. So if somebody is wrong with you, you cannot now say the Sharia doesn't allow you to cross lines. Yes, it doesn't. Like, for example, we know that Bush and Tony Blair went to Iraq and killed innocent people. They're not my teachers. I'm not going to come and say they did it to us, let's do it back to them. It doesn't work like that. The Prophet ﷺ is my teacher, not these evil individuals. May Allah deal with them. So we cannot come and transgress. And if we genuinely believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, sometimes, sisters, if you genuinely believe you're wronged, genuinely, do istikhara, ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for help, but never ever go down the route of thinking that the moment because what you're doing is, like Sister Ira said it really good on the show. She said, I disliked him so much. It was like, I was drinking the poison but expected him to die. Yeah?
Mhm.
And she said it so well. And I was like, wow, that's such a profound point. So don't let your hate consume you, because you're consuming yourself. Not only that, if it were just you, we'll say, okay, you're eating up the kids with you. And you are a mother. Do you know how merciful a mother is to the child? How does one, knowing, like the Prophet ﷺ in one battle saw a woman looking for her child in despair, like, where is he? Found her and started suckling her, the child. And the Prophet said to the companions, do you think this mother will throw their child to the fire? Why the example of the mother? Because the mother, we know the rahmah, the mercy. He said Allah is more merciful to his servants than that mother. But the point is what? We know mothers to be mercy. They have mercy, they care. How does this being who has mercy turn so bitter that they end up destroying their very own kids that they gave birth to? And if I went to this mother and I said, sister, can I harm your kids? I say, what the hell are you talking about? You're doing it yourself. Can you imagine if I came and said, she'll call the police, she'll probably have pepper spray me, or all this kind of stuff. But you are the same sister that is destroying your own kids with your own hands. Why? Because of the bitterness. The hate is consuming you, it's eating you alive. Sometimes you know what you need to do? Leave your affairs to Allah. If you believe you were wronged or not wronged, whatever it may be, ask Allah to clarify the matters to you. Oh my Lord, I believe this man has wronged me. Either clarify to me that I am wrong, maybe he hasn't, and it's the waswas of my friends and they're brainwashing me, or if he has wronged me, oh Allah, deal with this man. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most just. So I would say, sisters, don't transgress. He's hurt you, he's wronged you, no, 100%, okay. But you do not take it at the cost of violating the rights of the kids by stopping the father. Come to an amicable agreement and let him see the kids for the kids' betterment. If this is not for you, it's for the kids. But if you're that selfish that you're going to destroy yourself and the kids, you are wallahi a selfish person. So all I would just say is, sister, let that thing go back in separate ways. And if he's wronged you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will deal with him. But don't harm the kids. If you want to harm him, but why are you harming the kids? You need to really understand this, my dear sister, if you're listening to this. You are destroying your children. We look at statistics. Look, wallahi, and I'm not blaming you because you're single. Look, there's single father, single mother situations. But what I'm saying is, you are destroying your own kids. Let them at least have a future that maybe you didn't have. So, in a nutshell, that's what I would say. And I would ask our sisters to put their trust in Allah. And please, that allow these kids to have a chance in life. Don't destroy them at a young age. This damages the children. So, in a nutshell, I would just give that nasiyah and ask them to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because this is a growing phenomenon. I'm hearing this a lot. It's a growing phenomenon, bro. It's crazy. So that's why I'm touching up on this and coming on here, and we've done it on the Bitter Truth show. And I'll be doing some others. I'm not going to go into detail, but in the marriage documentary that I'm working on, we deal with this head on. Yeah, and head on, you'll see. We're not playing around. These whoever they are, they should be confronted. You cannot mess around like this.
I look forward to it. I look forward to it, inshallah. Jazakallah khairan, Akhi Ali, Akhi Ahmed. Again, I want to be respectful of both of your times. Thank you for sharing, for giving this time to this episode. I appreciate it from both of you. Jazakumullah khair, Akhwan.
Yeah, Allah bless you, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Assalamu
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I have another brother backstage. I'm going to bring on brother Farouk in a second, inshallah. Let me just grab these supers real quick. Shout out to Eric Powell, Jazakallah khair, my brother, for the $20 super chat. Mahdi, this issue cuts across race, religion, ethnicity, economic status, and even international borders. I like the way you wrote that, bro. Family law in the West needs reforming. You are absolutely right, brother. Thank you very much, Eric. Eric's actually commented again here. Once again, thank you for the $20 super chat, Eric. This issue goes across all demographics. Family law in the West needs major reform. Well, here's the thing, Eric, is that so long as women, as disqualified dads Farouk mentioned in his podcast with Pearl, I'm about to bring him on, so long as women continue to be incentivized, financially incentivized to break up the family home, the longer this problem is going to persist, perpetuate, and continue. And in fact, this makes a good segue to bring our brother Farouk on from Disqualified Dad. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. How you doing, Akhi Farouk?
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm good, brother. Thank you very much. I'm very good.
Alhamdulillah. Pleasure to have you here, brother. That point that you mentioned on Pearl's podcast, that was a very profound point. She mentioned, do you think there's something along the lines of, are women marriageable today? And you said it's not that the women are bad, it's that they are incentivized to be bad. I thought that was excellently put, brother.
Well, I'll further elaborate on that point, yeah, which I didn't get to do on Pearl's show. There was 100 things going through my mind at the time, yeah. Now, in any partnership or relationship, business partnership, you got to understand this, right, yeah? And I try and relate it to a bit of the red pill stuff, yeah? If you are, one is a silent partner, for example, and the other is the lead and head of the business, yeah? But the government has given the silent partner a loaded weapon. Who is really in charge and who's really leading, regardless of how good they are or perceived? And if there's a trail of honey somewhere, ultimately human beings will gravitate eventually to that, regardless of race, culture, religion, background. The societal behavior and the narrative will follow a line with the law. So the bottom line is one partner has a loaded weapon all the time. Effectively, they have the final say, regardless. That's the point. Who's really in charge?
Bro, you're absolutely right. If you've got a loaded weapon and you're feeling a bit emotional, you might think, oh, I've got the weapon here. Maybe I'll just fire a couple,
Exactly.
crack the whip.
Or you just wave it around. All you need to do, and the thing is this, with like obviously you, Ahmed, and Ali covered a lot of points. So now understand this in the context of a marriage and a relationship, yeah? There are ups and downs. There's going to be arguments. There will be moments, yeah? But if a weapon is waved around, so, I'm like not directly, is waved around while there's a child in the hand, a weapon is waved around. What is that masculine man still going to do? You're going to back off, nod along, because your first thought will be to that child. Your first priority is to that kid.
Yeah.
Maybe I should remain quiet. So how many years can you live like this? How many years can you carry on like this? And effectively, what happens is, and what a lot of brothers in the community, what I found is, they live in this emotional prison. So when you're a prisoner in your own life, it starts playing with your own head. And in the community, you can't tell anyone this. You can't go to someone saying, I'm indirectly being controlled. Now imagine a guy that you know down the gym comes to you, he's a tough sort of guy, but again, as much as he's a leader, yeah, you got to understand this. This person has your child, and the government has given her the weapon. You've conceded once, you've conceded twice. You've effectively conceded all the time. You're done. You have to toe the line because they're holding that child. Ultimately, the other problem in the community is this year with these sisters. Unfortunately, especially with this sort of behavior, this sort of coercive behavior, it's a slightly different angle.
Sorry, Farouk, do you have Bluetooth headphones in or something?
Yes. Is it? No good.
Yeah, it sounds a bit funny.
I'll take them off.
Yeah.
I'll take them off. Hold on. No problem.
Right, how's that? Is that any better?
Much better. Yep.
Right, yeah, sorry, where was I? Just remind me, I forget things very quick online. Where was I?
Loaded.
Yeah. So these sisters now, unfortunately, so with this sort of coercive behavior, when the family of the perpetrator and the South Asian community, like you said, people only pull for their own, yeah? They don't pull for the overall greater cause. They're not specifically looking at both parties. They only pull for their party. So when a sister has a brother and a father and a family who get behind this behavior, and you're batting for that team, they know they've got the upper hand. You toe the line, you bat for their team. And that's when you see in the community, a lot of brothers, you hear stories where after he got married, he went very quiet. He moved closer to the in-laws. He had no choice, but they just assume that he's, what's the word? He's under the thumb. And that term, again, pushes that guy further into isolation. So this isolation control tactics. So these sort of marriages, these sort of control tactics, prevalent in the, I hate to say it, South Asian community. And the South Asian community women have taken like duck to water with these tactics. They know it innately. And South Asian guys, generally very placid culture. As you mentioned before, they're placid people, easygoing guys. It's very easy now to exert this type of control because the backstop is the position that unfortunately a lot of us are in now. That's the reality.
I mean, you know, it comes down to character type as well. I'll be honest with you, bro. I'm the type of guy, yeah, I will burn the house down with me inside it. I don't care, bruv. If it means to preserve my sense of autonomy, self-respect, I will burn that damned house down with me inside it. We're all dying. I don't care. That's how I'm like. What do I mean by that here in this instance? Which is, if it means I have to yani, become some emasculated version of myself just for the sake, hoping to forget that. Keep the kids. I love new ones. I hate to put it like that because it's I cannot. I don't care. And he who's willing to commit suicide has the initiative. Now, that's not to say we should give up on our children and so on. However, as you correctly mentioned, if it's going to be like this, hey, behave, bend over, go on, or I'll pull the trigger. Do you know what I mean? Nah, could never be me, mate.
That's why I'm here, bro. That's why I'm here now.
And in fact, I don't know how much you're allowed to go into because your case is still ongoing, right?
Yeah, it's an ongoing. I can go into it in certain ways and angles. I've worked around this, so I'll talk a little bit about my case directly. Yeah, just to put it out there. Yeah, March the 16th, 2022, I ended my marriage ultimately for various of reasons, as explained in short before. Yeah. Now, again, what happens is the classic blueprint. So the day you end it. Following that same day, like I said, I remember it, very clearly like yesterday. You're arrested that evening. Historic allegations of abuse spanning over a decade, yeah? So you got the classic, the financial, emotional, coercive control, you name it, it's on there, yeah? You're released the following day, and before you know it, a few days later, you're already all over the place. You don't know what's going on. You ain't seen your kids. You don't know where you're at. You don't know what's happening. It's a very new territory. Next thing, you're slapped with this sort of non-molestation order. Just as you get used to that, you let it sink in and what it means and the implications of it, you're slapped with an occupation order. And all of this time, you haven't seen your kids. You don't know when you're going to see them. You don't know if you're ever going to see them. You're in a very horrible emotional state. You've been made homeless. You can't go to your home. Followed by that, I unfortunately witnessed my house on CCTV, witnessed my house getting robbed by strangers that I've never met. Unfortunately, with this abuse allegation, what people don't realize is
you couldn't even be there to defend your family. You couldn't be, am I correct? You couldn't be there to defend your family because you'd be arrested otherwise.
No, yeah, I can't go to my house. So what happened was, unfortunately, people came. When I say rob my house, the police assisted this under the family court machine, effectively. Yeah.
Right.
So when stuff was taken out my property, I watched on CCTV my home being violated by strangers from the community. Yeah, from the Muslim community. I hate to say it. The problem is this now, with the abuse allegations, and we have to go back to just primal human behavior. If a sister walks in somewhere, crying her eyes out, starts talking about how she's been abused, this and that. The thing is, with most men, innately, on some level, they will fall for it.
Yes.
And yeah, it's as you know, obviously you've studied, you're the best man to understand this, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
That primal behavior, you will automatically feel sorry, poor sister. And if she's a hijabi niqab, it's even worse. You will feel it even more. You think, poor oppressed sister, yeah. What happens is most men, and in the community, the problem is this, right? Yeah. And obviously Ahmed and Ali touched on it, but I'll elaborate on a bit more. We say these things, we're addressing the sisters. All of these sisters have brothers and fathers from our community, bro. We're all from this same community. There's brothers and fathers supporting this behavior. And the problem with all of the sort of, how can I put it? All of the community is, yes, these sisters are wrong. They're wrong. People that do this is wrong until it's your own. No, but she's legit. Because it's my own. No, but she's legit. When your own is doing it, you make excuses. And this is what I'm saying. Like, people talk about being practicing, putting the mask on, this and that. What about how you conduct yourself in your personal affairs? You can show the world you're practicing. You can go Hajj and Umrah. But when no one is looking in your personal affairs, how do you conduct yourself? Are you just in your personal affairs? Or do you only apply Islam to others? When it comes to your own child, do you turn a blind eye? And in the Asian community, when it's your own, it's see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. It's someone else's kid that's bad. And it's that culture that is also feeding into this. So when we blame these external organizations, which they are part of the problem, I also blame the community. They have brothers and fathers. And like I said, in the family court, like those brothers mentioned, there is no atheist. Everyone's an atheist. They leave their religion at the door. Hijabis, niqabis, fathers, brothers with beards standing there with sisters, knowing that their nephews effectively haven't seen their dads in months and years, knowing all the knowledge we have around this, they're still happy to engage in this. So as much as we blame all the system, brother, we have to look at our own to a certain degree and call this out, even amongst our own. There are men backing these women.
Interesting. That's a different angle, bro. That's a different angle. And if you don't mind me asking, because obviously you've been going through this for the past year, right?
Yes, been 14.
14 months.
Yeah, so last time I sort of spoke to my kids, my situation was in the sense that it was overnight. Yeah, so overnight, March the 16th, 2022, overnight, no contact, nothing, no see, no speak, no phone, nothing. Yeah, so I've had no contact overnight. Now, this is what I've understood. Yeah, those brothers that have broken contact, it's worse. Because the problem is, once you get on that emotional roller coaster, as you know well, you go up and down every day. You have your moments and phases where you survive. Now, what happens to a lot of brothers that have broken contact is you're being tortured. That's even worse. So what happens is 6-8 weeks. Then you get maybe a little phone call or an hour. Guess what? That's reset you back to start again. You're at the start of the game again. You're on that roller coaster all over again. You go through months of this. You just about get yourself together where you can function a little bit. You've got past all the self-deletion stages and all of this. You've got yourself together. You're eating. You're going out your house and whatnot, yeah? What happens after is you have a little bit of contact again. You're back to square one. It destroys them slowly. So look, I hate to say, I know it's important to see the kids and have the kids. If I was offered a phone call or 1 hour contact now, like you said, I'd walk away, not interested. I won't even do it, yeah, because it will take my strength away. I cannot go there. I need to remain in this place and position of strength ultimately. And my situation was, to a certain degree, I'll talk about my situation, yeah. So when all of this happened, yeah, I was effectively made homeless. Now, with the delays in the family court system, what people don't realize since COVID, yeah, where that time was 6 months between hearings or 3 months, I've not even had one hearing in over 14 months, nothing. My molestation order has run out before I can go and defend myself. I've been effectively living out of a van. I've lived out of a van. I've driven around for days, drinking coffee, just surviving. People have no idea, brother. And you know, as Muslims, we don't talk about self-deletion, yeah?
So are you homeless right now as we speak?
Effectively, I've got a place to stay. Like I stay at my mum's place sometimes. But the thing is this, you can turn up at your mum's brothers or sisters for a week, 2 weeks. You can't indefinitely turn up forever, like until the courts decide to respond. So I've got a little setup in the van. I live mobile. I sofa surf here and there. I can get by and survive because of the way I've lived before. I can get by. I can manage. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. But I have effectively, and you understand, I have no all my personal belongings are at my house. Where I have no access. I've not been there for 14 months. My personal belongings, my shirts, my clothing, my toothbrush, everything. I live mobile now. Or I have 3 workshops with tools. I cannot work. I do all everything's there. Then people don't understand the logistics. They say, why don't you go? You can get the police, go there, get it and take it where? I can get all my stuff, and where do I take it? With the CMS and the way the system works, you are completely dismantled. So where do I go with all my stuff? People have no idea. The day-to-day logistics. Even if I got all my personal belongings, I can't load them up all in my van and drive around with all of that. There's nowhere to put it. You can't rock up at a family member's house indefinitely for a year or 2 years. Do you see what I'm saying? And if you're a man with a property in your name, you don't get nothing. You're not entitled to anything. So you're effectively how can I put it? By default, you are disqualified from the system completely. And you're just left to wonder. And the thing is this, right? Obviously, being Muslim, we don't talk about self-deletion, stuff like that. You can snap that here. But guess what? you start thinking, well, what's the point in carrying on? This is where, brothers, we start praying for death. There's been days, brother, where, you know, I thought, if I don't wake up, I'm not going to do something silly, but my time is here and I go, man. I've got no reason to be. You start thinking like that. Unfortunately, those stages, that, you know, that roller coaster, and when you've been shut down from every part of society, because like when you're a father going through it, you are alone effectively. No one can understand. And I was one of these people. I knew people going through this. I never understood the horror of not having contact with your child. People have no idea of that basic primal instinct of how can that be denied. And when you talked about the family court system, I'll take it even further, yeah? The family court system, when you look at it innately, the system as it is, yeah, how it's designed, you have to give credit to the people, the architects of this system, yeah? Because the most basic primal human instinct of any living creature, yeah, basic primal behavior to be with your offspring, that's a very basic thing. How do you take a basic emotion like that, yeah, a basic primal instinct, and monetize it? So when a father is on edge, you've got to understand the psychological stages. Now, I've discussed it with Sister Sally, as a brother Ahmed said, from Split the Difference, which I've got here. I've got their t-shirt, yeah. They keep you on edge. The whole system, the molestation or the CM, they keep you on edge to the point where you're happy to split with money for someone to get you off that roller coaster, give you a little bit of ease. As long as you're on there, you're happy to take a loan out. You're happy to do something just to keep paying in. Now, the most basic primal instinct created by God, by whatever your belief system is, yeah, your flesh and blood, yeah, like I said, a mile up the road, how is it I cannot see my child 1 mile, less than 1 mile up the road? How is that possible? Until you experience that and you see the hurdles and barriers, then you wonder, what society do we live in? How is this even possible, yeah? But the system itself has monetized a basic human primal behavior. It has been studied, because then you think it's just £1,000, it's just another 100, it's only another £2,000 contacts, and it's only £100 an hour. I'll pay it. It keeps pushing you, because that innate primal instinct that is built in. Someone studied it, brother. They've studied the whole red pill, blue pill, and the green pill, as I say. They've studied all of it, bro. And they have monetized it. It is the best scam I can ever look at and think, if there's a good, this is the best scam around.
You know what? You've hit upon something very, very profound, which is that they give you this like a rat. They give you these little crumbs,
yes,
as rewards. So you got work, run, and then you get this little scrap, and you feel like
yes.
you're progress. Once you eat that scrap, that's it.
It's gone. They reel it in. That's it.
They reel it in, baby. Reel it in. Rinse him for all he's worth. You're absolutely right.
And that is, sorry, go on.
Like, how have you been managing your emotions over the past 14 months?
Like I said, I think the key stages is, right, those first 6 to 8 months, those initial 3 or 4 months, you are in constant pain 24/7. Yeah. No one can understand you. Generally, the South Asian community are very the lack of emotional intellect, for want of a better word, I'll say, yeah. You're on your own, right? And those who are not going through it, they can't understand it. I've had even people say to me, look, you're never going to see your kids again, just forget about them. And you're going through that and you're thinking, what? Really? They're my kids though. Like, why am I? You go through all of this stuff, yeah. You have to obviously try and block it out, yeah. But those 3 to 6 months, I think, are crucial. If you can survive the 6 months, you can then survive the long run, yeah? But once you get past those stages and you submit to the higher power, bro, once you accept that you were never in control, they were never your children, ultimately, if this was written for you for how many years you had with them, if that's what was written for you, then Allahu Alim, that was, you're thankful for that. But first and foremost, submit to the higher power and say, there's a force external to yourself that is greater, Allahu Alim, and he controls all of this. Number one, yeah. Number two, if you truly believe in your Iman and Yaqeen and believe in Allah, and know in your heart that you will do your bit, you will do your best. If you do your best, you put your work in, you do your bit, you put every ounce of energy you have into this, and you leave the rest to the higher power, he can do the unseen and the unknown without any help. So ultimately, you have to concede to the higher power, to believe in that, to help you get through. You don't believe in anything.
It's very profound that you mentioned that submission to Allah, because especially for someone like myself, for example, I'm very Well, I'm not a control freak, but I like to have an idea of where we're going. I like to plan things out. Like, this is where we're going. This is how things are going to play out. There might be some deviation along the way, but I like to understand the picture. But in this instance here, you are literally like, you are powerless in a
Yes.
way that is difficult to describe unless you've actually been through it. One day you are dad in the home, children listen to you and so on. The next day, nothing. And it's like, you go through, it's that, you know, have you heard of the 5 stages of grief?
Yeah, no, go on. No.
5 stages of grief is like the different stages that a human being goes through once when they are afflicted with something. And the final stage of grief, I can't remember the first 4 stages, but the final stage of grief is acceptance. But
Yes.
that journey to get there is a bloody painful one. And what you
Yes.
just mentioned there, that submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that will fast track that process, that actually you do the action, but you were never in control of the result in the first place. All you were in control of was your action. You take action and then you rest in the knowledge that I'm trying, I have tried, and I am trying, and I'm doing my best, but the outcome is not with me. And that brings you a great level of satisfaction and contentment to your heart, because otherwise you're just constantly stressed. You're constantly double guessing yourself. I could have done this, I should have done that, it's all my fault. And you start tripping your mind on all of these different like angles that you could have, should have taken. And do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you're 100% bang on. But this is the thing. When you said, like what you said about being helpless, when you are truly helpless and powerless, right, within certain realms to actually do anything, because you've been dismantled in every way, your hands and legs have been taken, you've been blindfolded and then told, now go and find your kids, yeah? You know how alone you are and the monster you're up against. And that's when you realize you alone cannot do it. You alone cannot achieve this. You have to go back to your core root. You have to go back to your innate core nature of what human being you are, how you were brought up, what characteristics you have. And we have, alhamdulillah, we're born Muslim, we have that backstop no matter what. So when you give in to that, submit to that, and then at some point in stages, the acceptance of the situation before you can see the clarity, because the rage, like you said, you'll set the house on fire ultimately if it comes to it, yeah? Now you got to understand, you're constantly battling those demons, yeah? You got to manage them daily. That rage, if you allow it to go, it will set not just your house, it'll set the whole block on fire, yeah? That's the point. Now, with that raw emotional rage, because of primal instinct, you will die for your offspring, yeah? What else are you prepared to do for the injustice done to your offspring? That's the key. People have no understanding. And a man that has nothing to lose is the most dangerous in society, always has been throughout history. Hence, we go to this now. That rage and emotion, if you allow it to fester and conquer you, it will rage everywhere. It will destroy everything. Harness it in the right way to get that clear. So once you get past the acceptance, use the rage, past the acceptance to focus and battle ahead. That's the point. Use it for the productivity and the positive outcome in a positive way. If you allow it, even if I let it go today, yeah, this will be a very different story. But you manage those demons daily. They still come out here and there. I have to suppress them. Again, to suppress your own ego, because this ain't about me. This is about the kids, yeah? So I have to suppress my own ego ultimately. Or like I said, if it's not about me, then there's many other options. It's about the kids. Hence, you manage that roller coaster. But if you can survive those 6-8 months, get out, go for coffees, go and exercise, go hang around with positive people. And I'll even say this, do not go and see other fathers who are going through this, because they will just drag you down. One's down, he'll drag the other one down. They'll just keep dragging each other down. And then these other demons and other vices there to start and do other stuff. You have to survive the 6 to 8 months. And I'll tell you this, if someone going through it as well, yeah, there's a lot of people in the community that come and tell you, oh yeah, this happened to my mate, he's never seen his kids again. Forget your kids. Don't hang about them. Don't listen to them. If you're dealing with someone like this, you need to give them hope. He needs hope to get through those 1 or 2 hours. Because when people say get through 6-8 months, when you're going through this initially, 6-8 months is a long time, brother. You can't see past the next hour, yeah? You need to get that person for the next 2, 3, 4 hours. He needs to just make that day, yeah? If you need to tell him, don't worry, it's going to be okay. You might see them. you need to just go get yourself together and you'll see. Give him hope in as many ways as you can. Let him believe that he will. Because once he gets past this stage, once he gets to the acceptance stage, then you can be a little bit more blunt because he's already accepted the reality of the system we're in. If you tell him from day dot, oh yeah, this just happened, he's already on the edge, and you say you're never going to see your kids, what's he going to do? What's he thinking? And this is the sort of stuff people come back. So do not say these things to people like that. Give them hope. Give them a little bit of hope to hold on to get past those next 24 hours. And, you know, it's a long, hard road. I say 6-8 months. It's a long, hard road, yeah. And unfortunately, a lot of people, we don't even hear about those that don't make it. That's the point. And that's why I'm here effectively, you know, inshallah. So
I mean, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to, may Allah aid your cause, man, because it's a bloody crucial cause. I'm trying to think, because I've been going through this for so long now, the details are blurred. But I think it took me around 2 years, bro, to get to that acceptance stage. It took me a hot minute.
Wow,
it was
really?
Long time. Because I was, how long were you married for? How old are your children?
My children are now, when I last saw them, they were 8, 6, and 3. They're now 9, 7, and 4. SubhanAllah.
It's old, man. Yeah, I mean, that's old. I mean, my kids, before I started going through this, they were 11, 9, and I can't remember the rest, but basically 11 years. It took me around 2 years to get to that peace stage.
That's a long time.
How are your children coping? Do you even know?
I have no idea. I have no idea. And this is what I've mentioned before on that Blackbeard podcast, yeah. You know, as an adult, what you went through, 2 years of turmoil and pain because of that separation of that bond, yeah. As an adult, yeah, you know the excruciating pain. Now, these children, they are supervised by someone else where they can't express this. They don't understand what they're feeling, yeah. So then you got to think that turmoil inside is internalizing that damage, yeah. What is that doing to them? What is you cannot deny, like I said, that bond put there by Allah, yeah. Grown men are effectively self-delete. They're contemplating their whole life and thinking it's not worth carrying on, yeah. These children that cannot express these emotions, yeah, they don't understand them. They just feel that loss. No wonder the stats say what they say about children brought up in these homes, affect single-parent homes. The damage, I think, it lasts a lifetime. And there's a chap that I know, yeah. He's in his 20s, right, yeah. And it turns out, I found out recently, his father's not been in his life from a young age, yeah. And he has his own issues and whatnot. But the mere mention of his father, yeah, I try and broach the subject, yeah, he shuts down. The barriers come up, he shuts down. The psychology behind an alienated child, right, is very interesting because the kids put good and bad. They label people as good and bad. So they have this parent that they loved and they love and they don't see, but that is now effectively in their mind promoted as the bad parent. So what they then think is, I am with the good parent. Then that subconscious loss at young age that someone you knew like this is gone, yeah? Then you get the anxiety. What if this other parent leaves me? Now, with parental alienation, and unfortunately with women and the bond they have with their children, they have a slightly different bond, yeah? So what the coercion, the way they coerce the little kids is especially, I know your dad's not here. Let's say they're not even bad-mouthing the other parent, yeah? But you do it with love, yeah? So I know your other parent left, yeah? But Mummy will never leave you. Mummy loves you. Yes. You have another dessert.
Creating a dependence.
Don't need to. Now you are, what's the word I'm looking for? You're creating that emotional dependency. That is more that. Now imagine a child or even a boy. Let's take it. Girls, put it to side for a minute. But let's say a young boy, yeah. When you create emotional dependency in a young man like that, yeah. You see the problems we have now, and hence this whole red pill and all this other stuff that's come out from it. But that emotional dependency is damaging that child through love. So in their mind, I don't want to risk losing the one parent I have.
Yes.
I am now dependent. They need that reaffirmation from this parent regularly into their adulthood. There was one story I heard, I'll tell you quickly, yeah. There was this geezer. He lost contact with his father from a young age. He didn't want to know him. As he got older, he became a man. He didn't want to know him. Now, this man then got married, had children of his own. At the age of 30, he lost contact with his own children through the family court system, yeah? At the age of 36, after 6 years of fighting, he went and found his dad and connected with him and said, Dad, I now know what you went through. And he then connected at 36. I don't know where I read this, but
36 though, man. I was flipping.
It's gone. Look, the childhood is gone. That's the reality. Is people don't realize. And look, I understand. We have to remember these children are victims, right? I spoke to one father the other day outside the mosque. Yeah, he's lost. I think he had 5 kids, all gone. Right? Yeah, his boys are now grown men. So I said to him, look, do you want me to try and talk to them, see if I can connect with them somewhere? Yeah. He goes, one of my boys actually comes to this mosque because last time I saw him, he wanted to fight me. He's angry. He was going to almost fight him. But this is the anger that is built in, the resentment, the anger deep down, because deep down they're feeling you're not there.
Yeah.
So as much as they feel loyal to one parent, I think with boys as well, it's the anger issues affecting. They're angry at that dad because deep down, they don't understand why they're angry. But deep down is you weren't there for me. There's a what's the word I'm looking for? There's a
Resentment.
Exactly. Resentment, and that resentment fuels the anger. So he goes, I've tried, but they're so badly damaged. But and the fact is this, I believe, look, even if they come back one day when they're adults, that a childhood is a very short time. Do you know what I mean? And once those years are gone, that relationship as bonded is formed over those years. When it is gone effectively, you have robbed that child forever. You can rob the dad. No one cares about the dad. You're right. No one cares. We're grown men. No one cares. I get it. Do not rob that child, though. I mean, come on, man. To destroy that child in this way, that you can never bring that back.
You're robbing the child. You're not rob that child. Absolutely.
So,
I mean, this is one thing myself personally, look, with my personal situation, I can let everything else go. One thing I'll never forgive is the time that has been lost with those children. There's a famous quote by Napoleon: space we can recover, time never. Once that time is gone, it's gone. You know, most people will not understand the experience of you have children, and then the next time you see your children, they've shot up 3 inches. It's such a weird experience. And you know, when Allah reunites you with your kids, and inshallah this will be sooner rather than later, you're gonna experience this yourself. You're gonna be like, whoa, it's scary, bro. It's like boom, like that. In my case, actually, one of my sons, he went through a whole puberty, and it was boy, man, 5'3", 6 foot. It was crazy. You know, it's like how it's like you're in a time machine.
The thing is this, yeah. You know, you say that, right? And this is what I'm saying. I can't even imagine. I don't know what that day looks like where I see them. They're in front. I can't even imagine it. I am in a place also now, right? It's almost I scare myself. I have buried it in such a place, yeah. I have to go looking and digging, yeah. Because if that comes out right now, yeah, the children, I have, how can I put it? I have conceded to the element of, to a certain degree, the reality is this now, yeah. Obviously, I know you're saying it took you 2 years, right? I've been 14 months, but I've conceded to this little bit of reality that ultimately, Allahu Alam is in his hands, yeah. Also, I'm continuing on the grounds that I believe my children, I'm not saying I will win, but my children will win and the alienated children will win, inshallah. I'm working to that sort of goal in that, with that goal in mind, yeah. But effectively, brother, I have I have accepted the element that if it comes to it, I never see them again. I'm going from here till the end, but the fact that they're already gone, I may never see them. And it's buried so deep that I can continue without, I am not burning any emotional fuel on a daily basis. I can continue this on autopilot. And like I said, the morale, the one who breaks morale first, I am going till the end. I have no backstop. The end, there is no backstop. There is no greater purpose. When you have stolen someone's children from them, understand this. I am prepared to go to, like I said, many other lengths. This is just a warm-up. This is just, I'm getting started. My true strength is only coming together now. I am prepared to commit the whole army to this. We will die on this battlefield.
Yeah. I hear
That's
that,
the
bro.
bottom line. And you cannot break that morale and my energy. my commitment cannot be faltered at any point, because my backstop is from here to whatever it takes. Ultimately, the full 12 rounds, they will carry me out the ring if it comes to it on every level. And this is what you got to understand. If you're prepared to go to court for your children, split with money, the thing is, I speak to a lot of fathers, and look, not everyone is different. Everyone has different strengths and weaknesses, and obviously not everyone can do the same. Everyone has to bring something different to the table. But I speak to a lot of fathers, I speak to a lot of practicing brothers. Soon as there's talk about action, like Split the Difference, I want to put it out there. July the 5th are organising, Sister Sally and Burrows from Split the Difference. They have now organised a march where they're going to walk into Parliament on July the 5th and challenge the CMS. They've got a whole case study together where they'll be challenging government on the CMS and their practices, child maintenance services, and the self-deletions that they are causing. Now, problem with the whole fathers movement is everyone talks and talks and talks until it's like, well, leave it for someone else to do. People need to show up. People need to get behind it. Not for me, not for you, not for any father, but for the ummah, from the Muslim community. They need to stand up for the ummah, because the ummah is being stolen. Those generations, those children, yeah, like I said, no father in their life. They are susceptible to many other ideas, yeah. That is how the ummah will. The women fall, then society falls. Our women are fallen. They have sold out in the family courts. I've seen it with my own eyes, yeah. And this is it. People need to turn up for the children. And the reality is this, I say to sisters, yeah, is you have sons and nephews. I have nephews at 11, 12, 13, 14 now. I see people now with sons who are 14, 15, 16. I am genuinely worried about these boys, yeah, because they're born from, say, in the last 15 years, these kids were born, right? I was born in 80s now, yeah. I think I'm a little bit older than you. Now, I know how I grew up. I know the mechanics and the mechanisms I had to survive, like you said, those 8 months, yeah. But I look at my nephew, I look at my friends' sons, they're 15, 16, young kids. Another 3, 4, 5 years marrying age, yeah. I honestly think, can they survive this? If they honestly face this, do they have the emotional capacity and the strength and resilience in their upbringing now to survive this? And I say to sisters, it's not about me or you, yeah? But what about your nephew or your son who will face the same system tomorrow? If we don't bring a change to the system now or stand up for this, our sons and nephews, even the sisters that have engaged in it, your sons and nephews and brothers will face this tomorrow. That is the reality. The same harsh system. We have to open our eyes to this, the overall bigger picture.
Jazakallah khairan, Akhi Farouk, from Disqualified Dads. Where can the people find you, bro? What are your socials if they wanted to reach out?
I am on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. My content is getting a little bit better as I get the hang of all of this, the social media stuff. But I'm trying to build my YouTube platform now. I'm working more on YouTube, but I am on Instagram and TikTok. And content is slowly but surely getting better as time is progressing, inshallah. So follow me on that. I've put a lot of stuff out in there, especially around the coercive control elements while you're in a marriage and what goes on in the community, how to counter some of these things. And I think with a lot of young men, like you said, also getting married is such a battle on its own. When they're there, if you're not used to these in-law relationships, mother-in-law, father-in-law, know how to navigate these things, yeah, you can also get taken advantage of and lost in that, because they can join in on this power game. So I'm trying to put stuff out there to tell people red flags there, when you can say to your father-in-law, excuse me, father-in-law, I respect you as an elder, but that's enough. You need to know these boundaries and barriers as well. If you've never been through it, you never know these things. No one teaches you these things. So I'm going to try and polish up on all that sort of stuff as well on Disqualified Dads, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok.
Excellent. That's Disqualified Dads, guys. There you go. Jazakallah khairan, Akhi Farouk, and may Allah facilitate your affairs in this fight that you are currently ongoing, that you're going through right now, and all of the fathers for that matter. Sometimes I forget myself in that statement because it's been going on for so long. Like, you do eventually, like, just you have to carry on living ultimately,
Yes.
This this is important work, and I appreciate the time you spent on this, Akhi, and may Allah reunite you with your children sooner rather than later.
Ameen, brother. Ameen. You too, brother. And Ameen, inshallah. Thank you for having me. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
My pleasure, Akhi Farouk. Take care. Assalamu alaikum.
Take care. Assalamu alaikum.
Salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah khair to Amar for the £5 super chat. After what's been discussed, what actions and key points would you recommend younger brothers undertake to best prepare and preempt this happening? It's a really good question, brother. Thank you for the £5 super chat as well. I will say to you is this, yeah. First thing and foremost, and this is not a negative statement. This is not a statement of, oh, what's the point then? But you need to understand something. You can take all the measures and precautions that you like. Ultimately, a segment of the population that's still going to go through this. Honestly, like some of the most unsuspecting Muslim women are putting their ex-husbands through this. Niqabis, alimas, Huffaz al-Quran. You would be surprised, my friend. You would be surprised. Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. But honestly, if there's one trait that I look for that is most important, it's trait agreeableness. I cannot emphasize this enough. If you have an agreeable woman, agreeable, she has an aversion to confrontation. She steers away from confrontational affairs as much as possible. She just wants to get along and get by. Agreeable. She's I can't emphasize that enough. She feels Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, alhamdulillah, good. After that, agreeable. And mate, I can't emphasize that enough. A man who has been married to disagreeable women and who has been married and is married to agreeable women, it's like the heavens and the earth, the peace in your life, the raha nafsiyya. You might have heard me use this word in the past for the OGs who've been here for a minute. That raha nafsiyya, that peace of the soul, yani, agreeableness.
This way.
Muhammad, salam alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Muhammad, yes, tafadali.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I really admire your strength to be able to put up with this. I can't imagine someone taking my children, so hats off to you.
Thank you, Muhammad. Which part of the world are you calling from today?
Australia. It's early in the
Australia.
morning now. Yeah.
MashaAllah. And what would you like to add to the discussion, sister?
Well, I know my cousin's cousin, whose father was, well, her mother was a bit, let's just say, mentally, I don't want to call her dumb, but she was just a bit low, and her mother used her daughter to divorce her husband. And unfortunately, her daughter has now become a lesbian, and she's got a daughter.
That
Yeah.
escalated quickly. Flipping hell,
Well,
bro.
well, I don't want to. A long story. I mean, it is a long story. Her father tried his very best to take his daughter. He fought for her. He got bashed a lot by this evil family. And then, long story short, he gave up, like a lot of fathers do. And this daughter grew up. She lost a father in her life. She lost a disciplinary figure in her life, and as a result, she lost herself. I mean, she's now a lesbian. She lives with a woman. They're married.
Married?
I mean, married, yeah. I mean, this is what happens when a woman or a man doesn't have a father in their lives. Everyone needs a father, full stop.
Jazakallah khair, Muhammad. Do you have children, or Muhammad?
I have two. Alhamdulillah.
MashaAllah. Alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. Rabbil Alamin. May Allah preserve your marriage and
Thank you.
the relationship you
Ameen.
have with your husband and your children for that matter. Jazakallah khair, sister, for sharing this. I appreciate it.
No worries. Thank you for having me. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Mate, that escalated quickly. Dad left, daughter became a lesbian. Flipping hell, bruv. Listen, guys, by the way, if you want to connect more intimately with me, you want to ask me questions privately, and you want to access a ton of private content, a ton. I'm talking about all of the Black Label recordings I have. That is the private group of, you could say, high achieving Muslim gentlemen. Every month we have a call, mastermind call. All of those recordings are there. My entire 48 Laws of Power series is there. My commentary on it. Every month I release a new chapter. Group coaching, and it's endless things that we have going on back there. And if you want to be able to have a conversation with me on DM, I answer my DMs over there in my community, the Janissaries. The link is in the description of this video as well. Gotta call it quits here, inshallah, because my sinuses are super inflamed, bruv. But this has been very beneficial. Like that video on your way out. Make sure you share it as well. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.